Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 157. My name is John Morgan. Cold Coffee is with me. We are at home in Las Vegas at the Casa de Cold Coffee.
Mm-hmm. Home game with the home Ballast Point home game at the home Casa.
That's what's up. It is a Ballast Point home game.
I need a phrase for that when we do it here.
That
Like a home game at my house and a home game at your house.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That
Yours is like
didn't
the away
flow
game.
off the tongue.
It didn't. Yours would be like the home away game.
Oh, you're going to make jokes now because I live in the southwest
You're
corner
like
of
so
town.
super
It
far.
takes 15 minutes to drive to, which is so far.
You're in the zombie zone.
Ugh.
The zombie zone where the zombies will first attack.
It's so ridiculous. It is a Ballast Point home game. Shout out to Steve Whiteman from Ballast Point Brewery. He's got us set up with the Fathom IPAs this evening. I'm not a big IPA guy. Like, I get it. The people that hate on IPAs, I get it. Man, Ballast Point, they do it right, man. These are just smooth drinking.
They is smooth.
6%, nice taste, India Pale Ale.
I do like these ones. The Fathoms are good, man. I mean, I really haven't had an IPA I don't like, and I'm not just saying it because they apply us.
No, because Ballast Point does good stuff.
They do good shit, like this is legit. Did we say last time? I don't know if we really gave credit to that Anthony's actually kind of moved on.
I wanted to throw that out. We didn't.
Yeah.
So Anthony Beach, the guy that kind of set us up with Ballast Point and first made the introduction, he's actually moved on. So I wanted to give him a shout out. I know that got to hang out with him in Temecula a little bit. He did a little roadshow appearance there. So if you're a hardcore listener, you know who we're talking about. But he set us up with Ballast Point. But he is moving on to he's got a head brewer position at a brand new brewery in San Diego.
Awesome.
I'll leave it at that for now. He said, things are kind of in development, but we will be hearing more. He said he's not going away. He said, listen, he's okay with being a co-sponsor. Ballast Point, they don't have the exclusive.
Yeah,
they're not the exclusive frosty beverage sponsor of the MMA Roadshow.
They will always be the first and the original.
They are the first original, but it sounds like Anthony Beach may slide in as well with a couple of his owners. But head brewer now, he's doing his own thing.
That's awesome. I love that picture that he had took a shot of all the like hops and barleys and all that sort of stuff, and I think it said like it was like 3 pounds, or it was like pounds that went into each whatever sort of batch. I'm not sure how much that equates to in beer, but it looked like a lot of product, and I think that was one of his things that he was saying, like, you're going to put me in charge. I'm going to put all kinds of this good stuff in here and come up with something good. And, I mean, if that's the kind of thinking that got Ballast Point to where Ballast Point is, I mean, like, I'm looking forward to trying it out for sure.
That's what's up. So shout out to Anthony Beach. We're looking forward to his new creations.
Yeah.
We will certainly share the word
Maybe
about them.
Maybe we can kind of like, hey, can we pitch in on some names or something?
Oh.
So Anthony, if you're thinking about some names, let the Road Show come up with some names.
Will we give it like a little MMA spin?
We should have an MMA spin with a little Road Show spin or something.
Maybe it could be like a line. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not their their signature line, but maybe they have like an MMA line. That we get to chip in on a little bit, or maybe they don't let us do anything at all. They just handle their business the right way.
Yeah, they're like, nobody's gonna understand the Darce Choke IPA.
So true. All right, so we're looking forward to what Anthony Beach comes up with. But in the meantime, get you some Ballast Point. It's some good stuff. Should also say, by the way, the MMA Roadshow this week for the first time brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. I've been excited about this. I'm not gonna lie. Cold Coffee. Dollar Shave Club sent us a sample in the mail a while back, and listen, I know you as the heavily bearded Cold Coffee, probably not the one to speak on razors, but I do have to shave, and I'll be honest with you, I hate it because I'm kind of a cheapo when it comes to stuff like that. Like I don't spend money on a bar tab, I don't care. But stuff like that where it's just like a life need or whatever, like I hate spending money. I feel like you're getting to me, So I always buy basically like cheap razors, to be honest with you, at the store, and then I always just cut the hell out of myself. So Dollar Shave Club, they were like, hey, we'd like to send you some product and see if you're interested in working with us. And I was like, absolutely. It came in the mail, and it is by far the best product I've ever had in my life.
It is legit. Like, the razor is good. And, even though, yes, right now I'm not really shaving my face much, but, my woman likes a shaved man. So there's other parts.
Are you talking about the chest?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but just the chest. There's areas that, while you manscape, you need a good razor for. But honestly, Dollar Shave Club is an organization.
Unfortunately, they send you more than one blade, so you can switch it out.
But I was going to say, when you said that you were cheap on the blades, dude, I'm the worst. And I don't know if there's any other listeners like me. Like, you had told me that you usually you go like weeks. I literally go months before I go out the razor. But, I wasn't even shaving all that much regardless. But, I'm the kind of guy that I'm like, I'll go downwards.
Right.
But then I'll go reverse and I'll go
yeah.
upwards and
get
you
the
know
nice
they say
shave.
to get it closer. I know
Yeah.
some people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that," but how do you?
Well, you can
that's
feel
how
it.
You
Yeah,
get
you
it,
can
you
feel
know?
which way it grows.
You know, you get in there. You know, you got to kind of do it. But dude, it's a good product. You know, and even Agent H was excited when it came because that's the thing. You know, this is not just something that just caters to the dudes.
Yep.
I mean, like everyone needs
And it's not
to
just
shave.
razors. It's not just razors.
Right.
You say Dollar Shave Club, cool, but it's not just
Yep.
razors. They send you the shave butter,
Yep.
which is ridiculous. They send you the Dr. Carver shave butter is literally the best shave you'll ever get. I'm telling. And I know it sounds
really good.
Look, you're like, hey, John, you guys got a new partner. You're going crazy. I know sometimes we go crazy, but I got to tell you how good it is. So you know that I'm not just I'm not just lying. So listen, here's what they do. I'm just telling you, it's worth it. Dollar Shave Club. You should look at it. It's a Dollar Shave Club. Use /road. My man Cole Coffee could tell you about what they're offering, but I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's the best. It's the best shave I've ever had. It's the executive razor they send you. It's nice. It feels heavy in your hand. The blades,
is sturdy.
It's 5 blades.
It's legit.
It cuts close. Tell them what they can win.
For a mind-blowing experience, join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll enjoy the 6-blade executive razor plus trial
I said 5
size.
blades. It's 6 blades.
6 blades, my man. You'll enjoy the 6-blade executive razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and 1 wipe Charlie's. Everybody needs a good wipe, you know what I'm saying?
You know what you need a 1 wipe for every
Then
now
keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/road. That's dollarshaveclub.com/road. That's a mouthful, but that's a mouthful of good stuff. This is one, I mean, granted, I've always been really hip to the Ballast Point and stuff, but Dollar Shave, this is legit. I'm very proud to have Dollar Shave on board. It's a wonderful sponsor. I'm glad to have them.
And lastly, just the last thing is you don't have to go shopping. It just comes straight to you.
Just comes to your house, man.
That's what's up.
That's all about. That's what you're all about. You got the food shit coming to your house.
Dude, you get
the only time you leave your house is to go get the beer from the Ballast Point.
Pretty much.
And then to go to the airport.
And that's
to go work in the
Dude, if I don't ever have to buy any Amazon.com.
I was going to say Amazon Prime, where they bring everything to your house.
Amazon
I was just
Prime
literally
now?
about to use it. We need to get them
Prime
on it.
now.
Because if I can get them guys to deliver some cat food, because the cat's in the other room and needs some food, we need Amazon. If we can get that. But that's amazing. You don't have to leave the house for anything anymore.
I don't leave the house for anything.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, listen, enough about that. But thank you. Happy to have Dollar Shave Club on board. Listen, let's talk about your day real quick. I mean, we're going to talk about everything that's going on, but let's talk about your day. I mean,
What a day.
I know if we're just being honest, I mean, fortunately, we got the Ballast Point beer to keep us going, but I know you're a little bit tired, man. You got up early. You flew out for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Went out to Hinoki and the Bird, I believe, is the bizarre name of the restaurant that has become kind of the home. If you have seen videos that we have, because this is where they do pretty much all these media lunches now, and I think it's because it's located right next to the Fox Studios.
Right around the corner from there's the Fox Plaza, but the main studio is the big Fox Studios, legit, probably not even a mile down the street.
So it's super
It was
convenient
really
for
kind of
them.
neat. I kind of fanboyed out, even though we didn't go, of course, onto the lot, but just being able to pass it, and Casey from Fighting, who was gracious enough to give me a ride back over towards the airport.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, never heard of it. It's just this small little brand. But he kind of pointed out some of the big, huge stage, whatever you want to call them, the big stage studios where they build all the huge sets, but they also have some of the streets where they have the front stores and they look like houses, so they could shoot down the strips, the house, and it looks like the front, like they might be walking down a street. I only saw a little glimpse of that from the road, but I could totally imagine in my head if you're seeing any street scene of a movie and you just see him pull up front and it's a storefront or whatever, that's on a lot somewhere, So it was really, really kind of cool. So I kind of fanboyed out doing the whole California thing,
It is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It is kind of neat.
When we did when I did the Bellator press conference, where I think you were somewhere else, and I did Bellator.
Where they do it right by Hollywood.
It was on the Paramount lot.
Yeah.
It was on the studio lot. So you walk through, and it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
I mean, how can you not? I mean, I guess if you maybe work in that, but if anybody that appreciates movies, even if it's not maybe the lot where maybe some of your favorite ones, you just still understand. It's like the whole mystical dream make-believe world that we all love. Even as kids, I think we all used to make-believe and come up with stuff, but then at some point we grew up and stopped playing make-believe. But on these lots, it's like make-believe land. Whatever you can kind of come up with actually becomes these cool movies and stuff. So yeah, I get tripped out, but again, I'm a theater person. I'm a theater major, so I love that shit. Jazz hands. Now you can see the jazz hands because of the Mevo. All right, enough of
Shout
that.
out to those streaming. All right, so that was really not the part of your day that I was hoping to focus on.
Oh yeah, I guess there was some MMA stuff that
So,
happened as well.
Hinoki and the Bird, the restaurant that you guys went to. If I would say, if
Which
you guys,
has really good food too.
oh, Jesus Christ. If you guys have seen the videos with the green leaves in the background, that is where
That's
this is
Hinoki
done.
and the Bird.
All right,
yeah.
what kind of food did you have? Just what
So the chicken.
they do
Simon
a
told me like the fried
chicken.
chicken. I had to have the fried chicken. So they brought the fried chicken, and then they had like salmon. And I feel like I have to eat some fish because I don't eat enough. And everybody's like, "Oh, you have to eat fish. You have to eat blah blah blah." So they had salmon, and then they had little potatoes and some roasted like Brussels sprouts. The dessert was awesome. They had like this like homemade donuts with like maple sauce or something over them, and some other chocolate thing that I didn't touch. It looked super rich. And then they had like some beef. And it's funny because when I went over and grabbed, I had heard so much from Simon, like I had to eat the chicken, that I completely glossed over the whole meat thing. So when I sat down to start eating the chicken and the salmon, Casey sat next to me with some meat. I'm like, whoa, where's that meat from? But I already had like a plate of a couple pieces of chicken and salmon, and I felt like a fat ass going up there to get it. But I was like, bro, I got to get the meat. So I went back up with another plate and got some meat and brought it back to the table. But it was really, really good. So Hinoki and the Bird, that was legit. I mean, they really actually took good care of it. It's in a back little room where they set us up. And it's nice. I guess they just kind of let the UFC do their thing there. Like, they do so many of these. They're just like, oh, they're in your room. You guys are in your room in the back. I'm like, holy shit. They're like, this is just their thing. You know, it happens so often, you know. So
Okay, now
that
we're
was my
talking
day.
about-
Then I went home. Then I hopped on a plane and went home. I had fried chicken, and then I hopped on a plane and I went back home. Then I was like, hey, that's it. That
All
was my
right.
day.
Well,
Thanks for listening.
was there anything at all maybe that also happened while you were there that you might have glossed over?
I guess there happened to be the interim lightweight champion came by as well. Is that what you want to talk
That's
about?
kind of what I was getting at.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, not that I didn't want to hear about your sightseeing.
It
not
was
that
really,
I didn't want to
really cool.
hear about your lunch. I kind of wanted to talk about
There's a really neat food club
the
also around
guy
the corner,
with the gold belt around his waist.
and not a fake belt.
The real belt.
real belt.
He passed his belt around. All right, so we're talking about Tony Ferguson. If we haven't been clear enough, we're not talking about chicken. We're not talking about movie studios.
But we can talk more about chicken. If anybody hops on the chat right now, we will talk more about chicken. If you hop on and tell me you want chat,
We'll
chicken,
talk chicken.
chicken chat, we'll talk chicken.
Chicken chat. That
Chicken.
sounds like the next podcast you're
Chicken
gonna lie.
chat.
All right, so Tony Ferguson has been kind of the center of attention the last couple days.
Yep.
You know, yesterday, of course, we sit down on a Thursday night as
Working
we
out,
always
bro.
do.
I'm working out.
All right, well, talk about
I'm not cleaning houses. I'm working out.
him and Habib Nurmagomedov just absolutely went at it on the phone the other
They
day.
just took it over.
It was fun, but it was also like bordering on uncomfortable. It was funny because actually Dave Lockett, who's the UFC PR guy, was actually in charge of the call.
Yeah.
And I was actually like texting him while it was going on
He
because
was
I
just
was
squirming.
just messing with him, and he's like, "Dude, I didn't know if I should step in or not." He's like, "Because you want to let the drama play out.
You gotta
right?
let it play
That's
out.
what everybody's here for.
Yeah.
They're here for the drama, but it's kind of like the weigh-ins. Like the weigh-in face-offs. Like, yeah, you want the stare down. You want it as close as they
Yeah.
can be, but you don't want them to push each other
Yeah.
and lose a fight. And the phone call's the same way. Like, you want the lines out. You don't want to shut them down. You don't want to
Yeah.
shut their creativity down. But at the same time, like, it was getting to that part.
Yeah.
It was funny because we were having an internal editorial team chat. And about 40 minutes in, I was like, I'll take the Nama Yunus recap because there was like because she couldn't talk about. I mean, the
said
girls
one
weren't
line.
talking.
Yeah.
The guys were going at it. So he kind of picked it back up at the lunch, and you've got the whole archive up on YouTube if somebody wants to watch it. We're gonna play some of it in a second. We're not gonna play the whole thing because it was about 40 minutes long.
yeah.
But talk about it, man. I mean, being around Tony Ferguson, it's interesting because I'll be honest, and I've said this before, so I don't mind saying it. When he first came on The Ultimate Fighter, and we were doing interviews with him and stuff, I didn't like him. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I didn't like him as an interview, not as a person.
I was gonna say that's it.
Not as a person.
It's the same thing like when we used to have to deal with while it was still UFC when we had to deal with the Diaz brothers.
Right.
Love the dudes, love what they
Amazing.
do, but when it came
Tough
to like
interviews.
fight day, you're like, oh, this is gonna be like pulling teeth. They're gonna make us wait, And so I guess it's kind of a bad way to think about it, but unfortunately, when you work in the industry and you work around it, you want the day to you expect your day to be an 8-hour day,
Right.
not a 10-hour day.
And you're like, I got 10 interviews to
I
get
got
to,
this,
and then I got to do
like
this.
work with me, fellas.
Well, and that's
Let's make
the
it
whole
as easy as for everybody.
Well, I'll be honest, and I thought Tony didn't like me for some reason. He's always got the sunglasses on. He's always got the.
And remember, he didn't always have the sunglasses when he started.
Right.
He didn't have them. Then he started getting into this like character, and then the sunglasses came out. and then you can't get him now without
and he's got
him.
the chip on the shoulder a little
Yeah.
bit. He's got the attitude. So I'll be honest. At first, I was like, man. Now I'll be honest. I love it. Sign me
Yeah.
up for the show.
Yeah.
Sign me up for the show.
Yeah.
I love what he's saying. Some of it is like almost ridiculous, but dude, when he dropped the flat-footed duck-billed platypus line
There's
the other
some
day on the
gems in
call,
there.
I mean,
There's some gems in
some
there.
of it's a little tough. But talk to me. I mean, you spent 40 minutes in front of him today. What did you think about being around him? And because it's a lot, man. It's
Yeah.
a mile. It's a tough interview sometimes.
Well, that's it. I mean, like, I felt like when I would try to throw some questions out there that if it wasn't what he wanted to talk about at that point, he was somehow going to shape it and take that question to get to where he wanted it to go. You know, there's a couple times I asked a question, I felt like he never really answered the question, but he got to say what he wanted to say about another point. That
his message
I felt
is
like
getting
he had a
delivered.
mental bullet point of things he wanted to go through. And you know, there were gems, there were moments where you're like, wow, that's a great one line. That's a, you know, but then there were other times like, gotta work on that one.
Right.
Maybe we're not the greatest, you know. And it just seemed that there was a lot of sort of random, disjointed comments that kind of came out, almost like he was like practicing, had like, it almost be like, say with Connor, he has his delivery right now with a lot of times you're like, man, that just flowed so well, you know, he does it so well, but you wonder if there was ever a point where it was just truly awkward, and he ever had that phase where he was just like, I got these great things in my head that sound really, really good, but if you don't deliver right, it just sounds like random one-liners that don't fit a proper like story arc or whatever. And that's what it still feels sometimes with Tony. Like, he's got a lot of things he wants to say, and he has these great one-lines that can be great if they're delivered in the right order, and maybe with maybe just a smoother delivery. Like, I feel like he stumbles upon him. He'll be on one tangent, and then he'll say something, and then like just not finish the thought.
You know
like,
you know what I think that is?
what's going on?
And I think that's, you know, and maybe this is almost too behind the scenes, but I think people like hearing kind of what we think and what we do. But like, that's the thing I think that makes him a tough interview, but also a fun interview once you switch your mindset. Like, if you're going in, and I don't want to say that you ever go in with a story pre-written or
Right.
a video idea in your, you know what I mean? You're there to document, but I think you always have an idea of like how things are going to go or what have you. I think with him, you can't expect to get the little quote you need. Like, if you have a headline in mind or you have an angle in mind and you want to come get that piece from him, you can't expect that. You just got to basically show up, turn the camera on, turn the microphone,
and like go.
And you're signed up for El Cucuy, and you get what you get. And I think it's fun, man.
It is.
It's a little bit, you know, existentialist, I guess. You know, it's a little flow of conscious type thing or whatever, and it doesn't always necessarily, as you said, address the question directly. But I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it almost even points to, you know, a lot of people look at his striking style. They look at his fights and they're like, oh, strike can come out from wherever. You know, it's like when he looks at the fighting game, his mind is working on so many different threads or tangents, possibilities of how a fight can go. And I think your mind has to be wired a certain way to be able to think like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's looking at so many possibilities, and his mind's always in his head. He's like, well, I can strike right here, and then maybe I'll fake a lunge. Or he might be like, oh, I can do a spinning back fist here. I can do everything. So he has all these possibilities, and I think the same thing, his mind, you know, even though he's not in a fight, you can't, and your mind works that way, I don't think it just easily turns off when you're in conversation. So I think it's that we see the same sort of thing. So that's why some things just feel like they're firing out of left field, where, you know, instead of just like one particular vein, you're getting all these sort of thoughts that maybe don't seem like they're connected, but in his mind, it all makes sense because he has all these multitude of thoughts in his mind that all make sense, but it just, I don't know if it loses track sometime or just how it fires up, but it's all, you're right, it's all very, very entertaining, and it's a hell of a lot better to have a guy throw out all these thoughts and all these cool little one lines rather than, I'd rather him do that than maybe just follow and answer my boring ass question. Right. So at that point, it's great. You want to just be like, hey, go ahead, but you know, a lot of times, we're ultimately, there's certain questions that are raised, especially like yesterday. You know, questions come up with the discussion that happens, and you're like, all right, well, let me get you to talk a little bit more about that. But if he doesn't want to talk about it, he's going to go on and talk about what he wants. You know, and it makes it tough to kind of have follow-up questions when somebody's, you know, on an agenda in their own mind of these things, you know.
I'll tell you what.
But it went long. It went longer than I thought it would.
As being a guy that has stood in front of him with a recorder in my hand, it's almost hard to process what he's saying so fast. You know, you said like having a follow-up question and having it's almost hard to like process everything
Yeah.
he's saying until you go back and hear it a second time or hear it
Yeah.
a third time, and so it does make it hard. So
Yeah.
here's what I want to do. Like I said, if you want to hear the full 38 minutes or you want to watch the 30 minutes, and by the way, shot beautifully, fantastic video. The colors are
Well,
sharp,
thank you.
the lighting is amazing.
Those leaves in the background really pop.
They pop in the back. If you want to do that, that's on YouTube. So go to the MMA Junkie YouTube page. You can watch the whole thing. But I did want to play a few minutes of it right here, just so you get a little sample, just so you get a little taste, of what it's like being with Tony Ferguson.
Not like a taste of the fried chicken or the beef, which was really, really good. Or the salmon was pretty good. It wasn't as good as the chicken.
Do you wish you would have gotten the beef first?
I should have had more of the beef. I don't know why I listen to people and they're like, get the salmon. The salmon was like, meh. It was all right.
That's ridiculous.
I should have had more beef.
These are the important things. All right, listen. While we debate chicken versus beef at Hinoki and the Bird, check out Tony Ferguson. Get a little feel, a little taste of what we're talking. You might have heard some of the phone call the other day. The connection was a little tough. Tony Ferguson was working out, flipping tires or something.
Yeah, he was like dragging tires or flipping tires. I'm like, bro, dude's a beast, man.
So bizarre. So this audio is a little bit crisper, a little bit cleaner. I think you can hear his words a little more direct. You don't have Habib talking over him either.
Yeah.
So here is Tony Ferguson.
So, Tony, does it get harder or easier to get ready to fight Habib since you've tried 3 times before?
I think that they have the issue. I think that they changed a lot of things in their camp. They had to hire a bunch of people, tap my phone, do whatever they had to do in order to get this thing through. But I bleed black and blue. And through, I'm going to go out there and make that dude see red. The dude's never been cut in his whole entire life. He's got a 25-0 padded record. He's got flat feet, no rhythm, and he's fat head. Thus, fat head.
Well, last time when you guys were there and you said good luck with the weight cut and the chimney suit stuff, like how in tune were you to thinking that he wasn't going to make weight? You know what I mean? Was that just kind of a joke, or did you really fear that wasn't going to happen?
Not a fear. It was more than anything. I was just calling him out.
Yeah.
If you've wrestled for as long as I have, you can see somebody that's had a bad weight cut.
Yeah.
I mean, big muscle sinks fast. You know what I mean? Bring a snorkel. I mean, straight up. I mean, we think about it. I mean, like with him doing CrossFit and his single planaire motion and doing that, it's one-dimensional. With myself, I stay lean and mean. I've always done that. Keep your body weight count down. Stay flexible. Keep your conditioning up to date. Do calisthenics. When your opponent expands, you contract. When he contracts, you expand. Khabib forgets that I'm a wrestler. He forgets I play football. He forgets that I play baseball and a lot of different sports and a lot of mechanics. So with this dude, he's having his hand held to all these different types of events, and he has to have a nutritionist. If you're at 25 fights and 0 and you need somebody to correct you on the way that you cut weight, you're doing this shit wrong. Like straight up. So if he needed more time to prepare for a guy like me, and then his coach is actually taking active rest, like how I dubbed it. So it's a little bit different. Like you had Edson Barbosa doing Darce chokes in his last fight. I beat an amazing Edson Barbosa, probably one of the best ones that you guys have ever seen. I mean, that was a great fight. Khabib fought a broken down Edson Barbosa. The fans got to him. Whoever got to him, they beat him mentally. Now that's the one thing that Khabib can't get to me about. Even his fans, I don't even give a shit. I mean, really, like, I have a hard time posting pictures of my family. Do you ever worry about your family being posted up there?
Yeah, I don't always do.
Yeah, you don't, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you careful what you post, right? But anytime I post them, I had to stop and take a look at it. I'm like, you know what? This is America. They ain't gonna do shit. Right? So, straight up, I have to kind of, like, have that confidence. And when I bring that confidence in there, I'm Mexican and I'm American. They want to call me cringe, but cringe is to grasp, to clinch. I am a wrestler. I do. I mean, what's that song? Lunatic Cringe? Oh, wait. Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So in essence, it's like I'm very witty and I'm very quick with it. And with him, he doesn't know how to snap into it like I do. So he's got the problems. His team is trying to demonstrate different things. They had to bring in boxers. They had to bring... Yeah, that's great. This is not the art of 8 limbs. This is the art of 10 limbs.
But you know, with the wrestling, a lot of people will say, hey, Kevin Lee took you down. And Habib,
I had to get my black belt
and
somehow.
Habib is better than
Straight up.
Kevin. So they're going to say, how can you defend Habib when Kevin was able to take you
It's
down?
USA Wrestling. I mean, we're from the same alma mater. So I already knew he was going to be highly aggressive and he was going to want to take me down. I wanted my black belt. What better way to get mat time?
Well, plus you don't necessarily fear being on the ground, right? You feel good there.
If I want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you ever seen a turtle on his back? I'm Casey Jones. No further questions. Let's go. Get out of here, man.
Do you personally dislike Khabib? Is this more than just a fun contest at this point?
I think a lot of people bring that in. And I think that's when you have to shed the layers of the onion and kind of be like, look between the special effects and the bullshit and realize who's real and who's not real. And when you can tell already, like you guys play poker, right? You guys, World Series of Poker and all that. I never played poker, I don't like cards. But what you could do is judge a good character by their personality. Khabib's not such a bad guy, but he surrounds himself around people probably stuffing his head full of bullshit and this and that. I used to have that. I used to be a knucklehead. But when I shed all that light and I quit doing this for likes and retweets is when I saw my numbers skyrocket. There's no bots on my shit. That's real people, man. With real work, like hard-working jobs, doing their thing, living day-to-day life with their 9 to 5. So when I train like I'm doing my 9 to 5, and John Jones is like, oh yeah, it was an easy day for you. I had a calm day. No, dude, a calm day for me is what? Doing 3 sessions, a conference call, and an ice bath. Working out while I'm doing my conference call. You guys heard it. That dude didn't have one chance to talk. Same way he ain't gonna have one chance to do whatever the frick he wants to do inside that octagon. You wanna close that distance? Go ahead. I don't have to punch you. You guys gotta forget, man. I throw people, and when people disrespect me, I used to throw them in their coaches. That's hard. Like Josh Thompson, he disrespected me. He stepped over my fern. I laid it down. He wanted to disrespect me, he got cut. Kevin Lee was from my alma mater. I didn't want to hurt him. Landon Venata is a kid. He needs to go on and grow from this. So I don't want to hurt the kid. You heard Khabib say the same thing to Michael Johnson, but he beat a broken down Michael Johnson. He beat a broken down Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza, I took that from him. He was doing my move in his practice in his embedded. When you see something like that, that means it's what's flattery, man? That's what copycat's the best form of flattery. So when their coach Javier Mendez is saying active rest Sundays and doing this, they're trying to take a page out of the book. That's perfect, baby. Because you know what? I got you. Hook, line, and sinker.
When you're going through the pressers and you're having a back and forth with the league, how much? It seems like you're having fun. Like, are you having fun in the back and forth? Back and forth with Habib and the engagements and everything like that?
I enjoy it. I mean, do you guys enjoy it?
It's awesome.
It's real for me. I have fun. I mean, he said, take off your glasses. I'm like, I'm very witty. I'm very quick. I'm very educated. I didn't get my degree. A lot of people say, you know, when you made it, Tony, you're doing your thing. I'm like, nah, man. I know when I made it when I get my degree. That's making it. Straight up.
You know, you said you actually used the word cringe a minute ago, right? And it's kind of funny. I think it's cool that you embrace it. I have to say, I have referred to you sometimes, Tony, as a little bit crazy, and I apologize if you take offense to that, but I mean it actually sort of as a good thing, right?
I would have to say that people that don't understand the genius in certain things and the originality, they might look at it differently, and I have embraced it. People can say what they want. I've been called wet beaner, wetback, big ears, cringe. I'm losing my... Yeah, I get it, dude. But if it makes you feel better at night, look at yourself in the mirror.
But
and
do
really,
you think you're a little bit different than other fighters?
I do it on purpose because it gets to people, and I know that. So the fact is I'm not going to stop changing it. If I see it gets to somebody, I'm going to keep doing it. Why do I want to be something that... I want to be a cookie cutter, poster boy, bubblegum chewing fighter? Absolutely not. I don't follow nobody. If people want to follow me, it's because they see talent. They believe in it. I didn't get into this bullshit because of this. I got into it because not even because of this. Is a fucking paperweight. Straight up. Every person can get one of these belts, but not every single person can win the Ultimate Fighter and get a trophy. Take that to your grave.
All right, so that's El Kukui, Tony Ferguson, just delivering the way he does. Like I said, I like it. I used to find it difficult to deal with, but I love it now. I like the show. And, of course, I mean, that's not even touching on his fighting style. This fight, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there is no better fight right now that I can think of. I mean, there'll be some that get announced. I'm like, oh, yeah, but, I mean, this is a fight. The styles of these two mesh perfectly. Yeah. Their rankings mesh perfectly. I think the fact that we've been on the cusp of having the fight so many times and then didn't have it, maybe that adds it. This is the fourth time. This is the fourth time they booked it.
2015 was the first time it was supposed to maybe happen.
I'm pumped about this, man. Are you?
Yeah. I mean, just even for when it comes to what it means for a division. You know, this would be even. Well, it's more exciting. I'm more excited for something like this as opposed to like Tyron fighting Rafael Dos Anjos, even though that's an important one for that division, means a lot. I mean, it's a proper championship fight. But this division's kind of been one. It's been kind of feels stagnant for a while, even though there's these great fighters that are working up doing this thing. But with a champion that's not fighting in the division, this interim title stuff that's been going on. But this is a legit. And I think the fact that this is a fight we've been waiting to see the answers to a lot of questions for so long. Is Tony going to want to go onto the ground? Is his confidence on the ground going to get him in trouble? Because we see when Khabib gets on top of these guys, it's an oppressive wave that just doesn't pull back.
Tony cannot be willing to go to his back, and
that's the thing. That's
sometimes
the
he's
problem.
willing to go there.
And I wanted to ask him about that, but I kind of held off because we started getting long. But I wanted to kind of ask, but I didn't know how he would take it. He has no fear or no lack of confidence when it comes to him being on his back, and I think that he's going to have that point in a fight when Khabib's taking him. He's going to get against the cage. I almost feel like he's going to want to drop down and try to pull guard.
Yeah, he does those Imanari rolls. He does, he'll pull guard. I don't think he can do that here. And he's great off his back.
Right.
But you talk to people that have trained with Khabib, and they're like, listen, you do not catch this guy. Even in practice, you don't catch him. It's impossible.
Right.
Man.
And when was the last time you've seen him dinged up in a fight?
I mean, he gets caught a little bit.
He gets caught, but he doesn't wear it. By the end,
you're right.
I mean,
You're right.
the dude. I mean, it's got. From what I hear, he's just got granite in his face, and people aren't really hurting him when they're striking him. So then you're like, all right, it's like hitting the Terminator, and then the Terminator getting on top of you. I mean,
these guys both have sick cardio, man. They're gonna go for days.
He needs to move. I think the best part of Tony, he needs to have those crazy strikes from different angles. He needs to stay separate. I don't. If he starts getting in it and try to pull in these moves, it's like one of those things when you see what happened with Kat Zingano and Ronda Rousey. She went for a move in a particular moment, and afterwards was like, why did I do that? I made a mistake. I should have just stuck with what she was really good at instead of just, lose track in a certain moment and played to the strengths of her opponent. And that's what could happen here. He might do this wonderful move that could be the flashiest, crazy finish if it works out, but he might play right into Khabib's strengths by rolling into some move where it immediately puts Khabib on top and then sits on him. He could easily sit on him for 2.5 minutes.
That's the thing.
It'd be 30 seconds of walking around and 2.5 minutes of him sitting on top of you.
We did this kind of new thing this week. We've been testing some new videos and stuff like that, and we did a thing that you edited and I shot in my office at home where I kind of just did a quick little setup. A little, what does this fight mean? What is it? Basically, we said it. Our bosses want to see us on camera a little bit more, and so
they don't want to see me on camera.
I don't know why they want to see me on camera, but they want to see me on camera a little more. So what we tried to do was just a little setup piece, little. Here's what this fight means. And that was the one thing I remember saying, and it's kind of just. Not like we spent a lot of time researching these, I'll be honest, but that the one thing I remember that I said in that and that stuck out to me is dude, if you make one mistake and you get on the bottom underneath the beam, you're not getting up to the bell rings.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're stuck there. You're stuck there.
And that's Tony. The way that Tony, he's so active and he attacks from the back while he's on his back. So in his mind, while he could be throwing up moves, then it comes down to a judge that he sees that as an active defense or being offensive in the back. Is that going to get him? It's just
and judges hardly ever reward that.
It's hard to get a
that.
judge to give you the nod when you spent the entire time on your back. It'd be one thing if you went from submission to submission, like deep ones, like either an armbar where the person on top is fighting for a minute to get their arm out, or if you're going for a triangle and they're spending a lot of time, but that's going to be tough. We haven't seen anybody be able to do that to him.
If you're rotating from ankle to arm to arm to ankle, but
then they might be like, oh, okay.
We'll
but
see.
if you're just defending and you're underneath and you maybe throw up one or two, submission attempts in 2.5 minutes, it's not going to go in your favor.
Should say real quick about Khabib, and we'll talk to him next week, of course. God, this card is nuts. I can't wait to get
this.
to
This is
Brooklyn.
a sick card.
Habib's trash talk for a second language, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. I love the why like Reebok. I can get you a deal. They get you shoes.
That was funny.
We put interim lightweight champ on there. Yeah. I mean, he had some nice little one-liners.
He did. I only had the one point with the one question. I know I've said it already, where I think he kind of either crossed the line, possibly well, maybe not possibly. I think he did cross the line.
You think he was being racist?
I thought it was I thought it was a nod to when he was asking if he was cleaning the house. When he said he was working out, and he was like, "What are you doing, cleaning the house?"
Here's what I was thinking, and I don't know
because that's not that's only a particular. That's like a
jab
at him being Mexican.
See, I thought maybe he was just like, well, you're on the phone. You know what I mean? It's a conference call. You're on the phone, so you're obviously at home.
Yeah. But he wasn't.
But
he said he was out working
But he
out.
was breathing hard and sweat. Like, I thought that's what he was saying. Like, are you breathing hard because you're like, like as you're talking on the phone, you're like vacuuming
But we didn't
and
hear
wiping
vacuum.
the counters.
Certainly didn't
and
hear
stuff.
vacuum. He said he was working out. He didn't say I was cleaning the house.
Does he think it was racist?
I think so. I think it was just he went back to the fact that in his mind, like, he doesn't see it, that he thought he said something bad. It was probably like gym talk or whatever.
Right.
I can't see any way around what he said was anything like not a jab at him.
I mean,
being
Tony
Mexican.
definitely took it that way. He's like, yeah, I'm a beaner. I'm a whatever.
That's what
he definitely took it that way.
He took it. I mean, because when I try to, unless I'm trying to defend what Habib said, I can't think of any other way that you're doing. I mean, imagine if he said it to a woman. Somebody would be like, "Oh, now you're saying because I'm a woman, I'm
Right.
supposed to be cleaning or whatever." Like, it's just there's only one particular. I mean, that's not just trash talk. I mean, that there's a certain edge to that it's hard for me to not think that that's what it was. And I want to kind of bring it up so I asked some of the other journalists and stuff there. I'm like, "Is that what it seemed to you?" And they're like, "I don't know. Maybe that's just you put on it." Then I was thinking, all right, maybe it's just me, and that's the way
No,
I interpreted it.
I thought it. I definitely thought it. I was like, ooh, like that's a little uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was like overtly like,
It wasn't really, but
jump on a ship
that's
and
because
go back.
but he did say it a couple times. But I mean, maybe that's. Are we too comfortable with the fact that I don't want to ever be like, all right, I need to be PC about
police.
everything.
Yeah.
But when you're talking like, all right, we're talking shit, I'd almost rather like, oh man, well, whatever, your mama's so fat.
Right.
Instead of, all right, yeah, you're cleaning the house because you're Mexican or something like.
That's fair.
I just don't see any.
No, I mean, and obviously I'm married to a Mexican. My son is half Mexican, so obviously.
You should ask her and then come back to me later on. I mean, granted, we won't talk about, but they say like,
Yeah.
hey, if somebody was. And see what she thinks, and see if she's heard that connotation.
Maybe I'll try to grab the
or is
clip.
growing up.
I'll play the audio and I won't even preface
see,
it. Like,
yeah.
you find this is.
I mean, for Tony's immediate reaction to kind of come back and say, "Yeah, I'm a beaner," he immediately took it like that, and that's what played it up more in my
True,
head.
too.
So I don't know. That's the only thing. I mean, yes. So he had some great one-liners. That's the only time where it was just like, all right, you got to be careful about what you're saying. You want to talk shit, that's great, but don't alienate. If this is your whole point, is that you're trying to say Mexicans only clean houses, then like you're really playing a stereotype, and then you got to think of that. And that's something that the UFC needs to kind of be like, hey, bro, when you do these things, careful.
Sure.
It might be what you gym talk is one thing amongst
Right.
you and your training partners, but when you get out in a public thing, you got to watch what you say.
And that's
you
fair.
know?
I mean, again, I don't want to be PC police either,
Yeah.
but I mean, we do
And
have
he's
to
probably
realize,
like,
it's,
dude, people call me a stupid Russian. I hang with bears, or I'm sure he has his own little things that he's probably got, so he probably doesn't think that it means anything, But in today's society, I mean, unfortunately, it does pop up. I mean,
like that's the worst racial stereotype about Russians is like you drink vodka and wrestle with bears. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's probably other ones, but I don't know.
no, I agree, but
I'm not trying to alienate our large Russian listening, factor. Besides the fact that all your women are beautiful and 6 foot tall and blonde and can drink me under the table, and they don't know how to say "niet."
Come on, UFC in Russia. Come on, UFC in Russia in September. All right. Okay. Are you trying to? I mean, I'm all in right now. Are you I wonder? Are you trying to temper your enthusiasm just in case something crazy
Dude,
happens?
I almost asked that question, but
I'm
I
all in.
didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to be like, if this doesn't happen because of his weight, are you done? I mean, like,
yeah, right.
what if that happens
Dude,
again?
if that happens again, you just go like, dude, this fight's cursed, and you never do it again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But at
Under
that
any
point, you got to think
circumstances.
that does something to the UFC too. Like somebody had brought that up, and maybe it was in the conference call, and I wonder if that's the UFC kind of tempering the fact that this was supposed to happen and didn't happen. They were asking and brought up, do they think that it wasn't getting the promotion that it should have?
I thought that question was bizarre, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
But I mean, like, I've seen some
Oh,
commercials.
you're saying there aren't enough. Oh, see,
They're trying to say that the UFC. I took it that they were saying that the UFC is not promoting this fight,
That's
this
interesting.
card, as much as they could be.
which I wouldn't blame the UFC.
That's it.
I wouldn't blame you.
And that's
See,
what
I took that question as, do you feel like there's not enough hype about this card? Which I feel like there's mad hype about this card. I mean, it's
I thought he actually said it was like, do
there
they think
not
the
enough
UFC
promotion?
because
Hey.
he was saying like there was a boxing match overseas or whatever that he was talking about. I think that he said that he saw lots of promos about it. He's like, but I'm not seeing anything about this. Are you feeling that the UFC is doing enough or not doing enough or whatever?
Wow.
And then I think they took it as, oh yeah, no, this fight is exciting. I'm excited for whatever.
I think the UFC is in an interesting position right now. Number one, that's kind of two different conversations here. But number one, definitely wouldn't blame them for not going all in on this fight just in case something happens. You know what I mean? I mean, they do have some nice Rose and Joanna promos as well, but I definitely wouldn't blame them. I mean, I think that's smart business. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to kill the pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view. You gotta put promos out there.
I feel like the UFC is in a position right now where they're like, I think until they get this new TV deal locked up, they're being
as crazy.
very careful about where they spend their money, man.
That could be what it is.
I mean, I don't think they're buying as many billboards. I don't think they're doing as much. I mean, I just don't think they're. I think they're trying to limit their output right now until they know what this new TV deal is going to be.
Well, plus, how many times have we seen billboards, even here in Vegas? And it's the unfortunate, especially when they like the main and co-mains, billboards. How many times have you seen billboards that as soon as they're
outdated billboards?
They're outdated because a fight dropped, and maybe they realize, all right, maybe we need to advertise in a digital form because it's easier to swap out or whatever. But you still feel that you got to act like it's as big as every other event that you've tried to sell because it's huge, especially two title fights on the line. I mean,
two real title fights, not interim fights.
You got to promote it as big as anything else, and I do feel like I haven't got as much when I've seen the advertising and promotion. It's while I'm watching a Fight Pass thing. I'll see something on Fight Pass. I haven't seen a promo. Well, I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I'm not seeing a lot of the ads or I'm not hearing them. So but it makes sense, yeah. If you have a lesser budget to work with, whatever. But this is a pay-per-view. You got to go all in on pay-per-view. I understand if you're not going crazy with even the UFC on Fox because it's in Fox's best interest to promote it within on their own channel.
Right,
so I can
see
what the
rely
UFC
on your
is
partner to help out.
Like, okay, I'm not going to go whatever, and I don't expect it on a lot of the fight cards, but on a pay-per-view with two title fights. Especially a fight that's been in the works for over 3 years. You gotta go all in, and I just feel like I haven't seen it as much.
It's like the UFC needs some kind of insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to call up Health IQ. Is what they need to do. See that was segue right there. That was segue.
All
right, I should say the MMA Roadshow once again is brought to you by Health IQ. You gotta have life insurance. You got to. And if you need life insurance and you don't have it, what you got to do is call Health IQ. It is an insurance company that helps health-conscious people like runners, cyclists, weightlifters, and vegetarians get lower rates on their life insurance. Go to healthiq.com/road to support the show and get your free quote. Because if you are very health-conscious, like myself and Cold Coffee are, then you should get rewarded for it, right? And that's where Health IQ comes in.
It's all about better science, guys. Health IQ spent years gathering the science and data to prove the health conscious deserve lower rates. Over 1 million people took their Health IQ quiz and formed the basis for the scientific analysis of the relationship between health and health knowledge. I mean, it makes sense. They took all the year's data and science on the health conscious to the top carriers and partnered with them to get the lowest rates on life insurance for the health conscious.
Health conscious people like ourselves. I actually went to the gym yesterday. I don't want to talk about it. Health IQ can hook you up with lower rates by taking a few lifestyle quizzes and submitting actual data like race results, Runkeeper. There's no way anybody that's listening to us has Runkeeper data.
They might. Like your boy Brian.
Brian
in the UK. Brian runs marathons.
Brian Boyle.
Brian's got some.
He has
he's got
Runkeeper
some
data. You reach out and they take you on a journey, learning about your lifestyle and your choices. It's like getting good. Drive a race. If you're health conscious, they'll help you with the underwriting, so everyone understands the specific stats and information. They know more about you.
To see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/road or mention the promo code ROAD when you talk to a Health IQ agent.
Speaking of healthy, let's talk about Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She is looking healthy. We've talked about the main event of UFC 223. Let's talk briefly about the co-main event. It's weird, right? Not like having 2 weeks to build up to a fight, 3 weeks to build up to a fight. I'm ready for a fight. I know people say there's too much UFC. There's too much fights. I'm ready for a fight, man.
I'm ready for a fight.
All right, Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
I totally get it, what you're saying.
looking healthy, man. She's posting things that the weight is coming good. That it's not going to be an issue. I'm excited about this, and I am torn on this fight because Rose looked so damn good last time when they fought, and Joanna I thought was being just weird the whole week. To be honest with you, I was like, there's something not right about her right now. And we saw what happened, and the results were amazing. Rose Namajunas looked phenomenal, and we've always felt great about her potential and about her as a fighter. We didn't think she was going to knock out Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but looked phenomenal. So I'm excited to see that Joanna looks good. I'm excited for this rematch. I'm torn on trying to like break this thing down, on trying to handicap a winner or whatever, because you don't want anybody to make excuses, but I think Joanna probably did have a pretty horrible weight cut last time. I mean, that's what we heard all week long, and around her.
Well, that's what they said.
So I don't know. How are you feeling about this? Because, I mean, you can't look, this is such a weird situation to me, right? Because we just saw this fight 5 months ago. We just saw this fight. We know exactly how it went down, right?
Yep.
And now they're rematching right away. So we've got the same data to work with, right? But man, if you look at everything that Joanna did leading up to that point, not that she blew everybody away. I mean, she had some close fights with Claudia Gadelha. I mean, there were some good fights.
But she was very dominant the whole entire time. Dominant. There's nobody that she hasn't been dominant over except for Rose.
So on the one hand, I go, well, that was kind of a fluke last time. Fluke is wrong. I shouldn't say fluke. I should say there were extenuating circumstances. There was additional information. There's other things that factored into that result. But at the same time, Rose didn't even do what I thought she could do to win the fight, which is her grappling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She won the fight with striking. So now I'm like, hold on. If she won the fight in the least, possible way,
right,
what if she gets the fight to the ground? So I don't know. We still got to get up to Brooklyn.
She's always had good strikes.
She has.
I think the thing with Joanna, she's just has always looked so much stronger on the feet and so much stronger standing up than other people, and nobody's sort of rocked her. And Rose rocked her right from the get-go and immediately just set the tone. She went in there with a serious chip on her shoulder, and I have no idea, or I have no reason to doubt that she didn't stay as focused. Rose has never struck me as a person that takes training lightly or takes any fight lightly.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't take the fact that she's made it to the top. She's made it to the champion, and she's not going to take anything lightly. In every video I've seen of her training, everything from, have you seen any of the videos of like Pat throwing tennis balls and she's hitting them back and solid,
right?
Like legit. It's one thing when people throw a tennis ball and they're like, oh, I'm going to dodge. Now bring me the pool noodles.
Right.
She's beasting out on this stuff. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that she's not going to do the same thing. And even now, I see Joanna. There's glimpses of. I don't feel like she was ever in any bit humbled. She doesn't. She feels like she made some mistakes, but
just writing it off.
She's just writing it off. She's not giving Rose the credit for what Rose did to her that day. And I think if she goes in there, she's in a sense carrying the same whatever mindset that she went in the first time. I just don't know if she corrected enough things or is giving enough credit to how dominant Rose was. Like you said, we didn't even see the strongest part of what we all have come to think is Rose's strongest features. And she dominated a person that normally dominates everybody. A person that goes in there with Jessica Andrade who just destroys people. She had that huge welt and she still dominated Jessica. And then we see Rose come in and literally take this striker who had been just walking over everybody. What she did to Claudia Gadelha just blows my mind, because Claudia, she still is one of my favorite phenomenal fighters. I just totally dig everything about her. She just demolished her, made her look not on the same level. And anybody that could do that just is on a whole nother level. So to have somebody do that to her, and then I feel like and then to still kind of feel like she's not giving credit to what Rose did.
If you're right, that's dangerous, man. I guess
it is. And when you listen to her, I feel like she was like, yeah, Rose was better. Rose did what she needed to do that night. But I still feel like she's never been like, Rose was better than me that night. I need to correct some things. She's still like hasn't. And maybe that's what it takes to be at that level. You don't really think about those things.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, on the one hand, like, I love the confidence. Always loved Joanna's confidence. Always loved it. You love that, and you want that. You want to have a little edge. You want to have a little swagger. But Now, I know that things have soured a lot since then. I think a lot of people are kind of down on Conor McGregor. But, you think about that first loss to Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
The way he handled himself when he came back to that press
was
conference.
awesome.
And he was like, he was the better man. I thought I could handle it. The size was more than I thought. I didn't judge my pacing right, my energy.
I know what I need to work on.
Yes. You're right. And you know
it
what?
was the best way to handle that situation.
Oh, man, he nailed it. And you know what? I hadn't thought about that until right now that you're right. Basically all I've heard you want to say is my body wasn't right
Yeah.
because of this weight cut, because
Right.
of nutrition, which is not
It's like
necessarily an
putting blame.
excuse.
She's not giving credit to what Rose did. She's
Yeah.
she's finding fault in something that she almost feels like she was out of control with. But
Yeah.
it was all completely in her control. But it wasn't. I mean, yes, the weight. Yeah, maybe you were depleted. Maybe you weren't able to get. But that didn't stop you from taking the strikes that you did. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does slow her down. So she took that initial hit that really rocked her. And I don't know if she ever really fully recovered, and that eventually led to the rest of the stuff. But to not give credit to what Rose was able to do just makes it feel that she didn't really fully fathom, Rose's skill level. And I still don't think she thinks Rose is on her level.
All right, so here's what I want to ask you. So on Wednesday of next week will be the open workouts, right? So we're flying into Brooklyn on Tuesday. Since it's a pay-per-view, you and I are both going, which is great. So we'll have some great shows next week. Wednesday morning, you and I are going to do our traditional kind of one-on-one interviews with some of the prelim fighters. And then that night is going to be the open workouts. The open workouts will just be the main and the co-main event. We will get face-offs that night. So the first time we'll see them come together for a face-off will be Wednesday night. What do you want to see out of Joanna? Do you want to see – well, I
want to see
I
her-
won't even get mad. Do you want to see her do I won't say what she did last time because I think she went so over the top.
Yeah.
But do you want to see the same – get down low in the stands?
That's
get down,
what I want.
Do you want to see
That's
that?
different than what we saw last time.
Right.
What we saw last time was a
Talking
lot of
shit,
talking
trying to
shit, and a lot of
bullying.
pointing,
Yep.
a lot of whatever. But when it was the Joanna that went out there and got down low and got in their face and looked at them and would stare through the back of their head.
Okay, but so
I don't see that as
But you don't want to see her humbled? You don't want to see her maybe not do that because she's giving
Well, no,
respect
that's
to
fine. That's fine as well. But I'd rather see her amped up like she's giving it all because that's not out of character.
Right.
It's when a fighter shows up and does something completely out of character that you're like, whoa, what is that? What she did last time was a little out of character.
Mm-hmm.
She had sort of been getting more so to that talking and pointing or whatever. But when she did that to Rose, I think was the biggest sort of out of character moment for her where, to me, when she would come out there and get down low and get in their face,
Right.
that was her. That's what she did fight after fight after fight. It's what we expected. So it didn't feel out of character, and I still felt like that was a little bit of mind game, but it was still sort of a restrained mind game, that me versus you, but I don't need to say anything. I don't need
Right.
to come out of myself and point at you and do whatever. It's just me right now. I'm looking through your soul.
So you don't want to see any humbleness or humility, like admitting
It would be the first. It almost seem out of character because we've never seen it.
right.
When have you ever seen it just go up there and I'm going to just politely put my hands up
Right.
and I'm just going to stare at you? We've never seen it. If she did it, great. That's fine. But it would probably strike me like, what the hell was that? And then I'd be like, fuck, that's out of character again.
Right.
I would almost rather just want her to get up there, even if the arms are kind of pumping a little bit and you could just feel like when she's riding the adrenaline wave and they're just like, yeah, what's up? I would be totally into that.
And then she pushes in
if
at
she
the
gets
last
in there,
moment.
and just gets in there a little bit. Because the great thing about Rose ain't gonna fade. She's just gonna stay right there, and
Yep.
she'll let Joanna get right there, And if anything, we'll see
Bro,
Dana kind of be like, all right, calm down a little bit. But I just,
let's get on a plane tonight. Can we just go to Brooklyn tonight?
dude, it's gonna
ready
be
for this
pretty.
card.
It's gonna be pretty darn exciting. I mean, how can you not? How can you not be excited for this?
Those top two fights, and dude, this card's so deep. We're interviewing people on the Fight Pass prelims.
How deep is it?
Oh, wow.
Fried
Talk
chicken.
about chicken again. Yeah, I'm about to say. Chicken
Fried
chat. Chicken chat. All right. Hey, listen, I want to give a shout-out to our boy Brett Okamoto. We sat right here in the Casa de Cold Coffee not that long ago and said, hey, man, what about Ronda Rousey? We haven't heard from her. Wouldn't you guys want to do that interview? And damn, if he didn't get to go up to New York and do that interview, I just wanted to give a shout-out to him. If you haven't watched the full interview, I want to say kudos to him, too. He pressed his bosses, from what I understand, at ESPN. They were kind of, ESPN is a big media company. very much like USA Today.
Yep.
And they were of the mindset that, hey, man, we'll edit it down to 2 minutes and the fans will be happy. And they did. And Brett was like, hey, listen, I'm telling you right now, MMA fans, they want to see more. They want to see the whole interview.
See it all.
And initially, from what I understand, he got a little – hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn here, but he got a little pushback. And he said, please, just listen to me. I'm telling you, MMA fans would want to see the whole thing. And kudos to him. He got the whole thing posted online, so it's on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
Very cool. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. It's good. You know, he does a good job as an interviewer. You can tell he's bouncing back and forth because one wrong question, she's going to get pissed.
Yep, she'll shut down.
But at the same time, it doesn't do you any good to see.
I can't go back in time.
Yeah.
I'm not a time
oh my
traveler.
God, how great was that?
I'm not a time traveler. I can't go back in time.
I love how all the headlines
Will
were
you
like,
fight in MMA again?
I love how all the headlines were like she misunderstood the question. Like she didn't misunderstand the question. Like she didn't like the question,
Yeah.
and so she found a way to turn it on the interviewer because you didn't ask it exactly right, so she nailed it. So Brett did a fine job of walking the line and keeping things, happy, kind of bouncing back and forth between MMA. She still didn't address necessarily everything. It's, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh, Ronda Rousey, she's wrestler now. Why are you even talking about her? I don't know. I thought it was – I thought – she addressed some stuff that she hasn't addressed yet. I do really feel like she doesn't owe us anything.
Right.
As media, I think some people are like, but I don't know. It was kind of nice to at least hear some MMA talk from her.
Sure.
And I think Brett did a good job of getting what he could get. I think it's very clear she still has no desire to talk about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he got a couple of answers.
Can't go back in time, John.
Can't go back in time.
I wouldn't mind talking more about the wrestling. I'm trying to watch more wrestling now. So I started following on the social media stuff. I started following like the New Japan, and I started following. I tried to the Ring of Honor and the WWE. I tried to watch it. I feel like some of our audience. I feel like a lot of the junkies out there watch this stuff. It is entertaining.
I'm not hating on anybody for watching it, but.
I just feel like
if you try to talk about pro wrestling on the MMA Roadshow, I'm finding a new producer and a new
But
co-host.
I feel like a lot of people, especially MMA fighters, now we're starting to see them cross over. We're seeing fighters go over and interact. So I mean, like, it's good. The world's, and especially the fan base, actually, regardless of whether you're a pro wrestling fan or not, there's very physicality to it. There's a lot of, granted, it's scripted. There's a lot of stuff, but
right.
I love that New Japan shit, man.
It's pretty cool.
You're watching like a 45-minute scrap, like regardless of script or not, how do you even keep track what they're doing in their bodies? But whatever. There's a crossover. There's definitely a crossover between
feel
the
bad
fan
for the
base.
judges, man. That's tough. They gotta
how can they even possibly? The ref has a real hard job, especially when he decides whether his count's going to be quick or whether it's going to be kind of delayed in between the
Someone's
2 and the
gotta
3.
figure out a way to stop the interference with the referees, man. It's just.
Or somebody's got to find
Okay,
a
so
way
enough for wrestling talk. Enough for wrestling talk.
to like, how can these tables just somehow end up in the perfect spots outside the ring? Somebody's got to be better at taking care of the tables. But I have been trying to pay attention to some of this stuff, because I feel like a lot of the people, a lot of the Junkie Nation, I guarantee are probably, whether they're in the closet about it or not, are probably WWE fans. And even within our own staff, Simon's a huge one. I know Bond is into it, so I'm trying to get back to, and when I was a kid, I loved, but that was like the Hulk Hogan days.
Oh, yeah, dude. When I was a kid.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka and
Macho
Junkyard
Man,
Dog.
Ultimate Warrior. I loved all that stuff until I was like 8, and then I realized it was fake, and I was like,
But
I don't
even
like
then,
this
wasn't
anymore.
it still sort of exciting? Like, I think there's that point where, if you're kind of in on it, you're in on the joke, and you still go along with it, and there's that sense of almost like being a kid again. You're like, all right, I'm gonna agree. And I think the same sort of thing with live theater. You realize, I see a set up there and I see a stage. I know we're not really in Southern wherever, and I hear this guy yell Stella. I know he's not really thinking he's in New Orleans or wherever. There's
No, listen, I will say this. Like, I'm not a pro wrestling hater. Like, I would
you
say.
sound like a hater.
I'm just saying it's not my form of entertainment. Like,
Yeah.
I respect the athletes that are in it, man. Like, I do. Like, what they are doing
It's
is
hard.
incredibly
It's hard to
athletic.
try to deny the fact of what these guys are doing
It's
physically.
difficult
and
to
gals.
do as we watch Ronda Rousey's transition. We can
Yeah.
see it ain't easy. There's a learning curve. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
that's with the acting as well. We saw that. There's a curve.
that's
Not
what I'm saying.
everybody can do
There's a
it.
learning curve. It's not easy. So I respect the hell of it. I don't know. I guess if I'd rather see a fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, because there's real stakes. There's
Yes.
real
The-
things.
that's
There's
it.
real. There's
That's
real
it.
shit that's on the line.
That's it, man. I think about
You know?
the sacrifice and the effort and what
You
it
think
all
about the
means.
families. I
and
mean,
the
the
family. Oh,
people
yeah,
that
man.
are being,
the
it's a
flight
little bit
home
different.
after the win and the flight home after
Yeah.
the loss. You know what I mean? The looks that
Yeah.
you get. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I mean, the real stakes, man. To
Yeah.
me, it's the sport with the highest stakes in the world.
It's true.
You know? That's why I love it.
Doesn't highest of highs, the lowest of lows.
Lowest of
you know?
lows. All right, a couple of things. UFC Fight Night 130, Liverpool, England. We don't know if we'll be there yet. We're hoping. We have a meeting with our bosses next week.
When you say we, you don't obviously mean
well, obviously
me.
you won't be there, but
Why won't I be there?
because we have.
I should be there.
Okay, well,
I
we'll
should be
talk
there.
about it. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, right.
We do have we do have Abby Subban. It is interesting though. That's an interesting week. We talked about before, but Bellator's on Friday night, UFC's on Sunday night.
Where's Bellator at?
London.
Oh, interesting.
Same weekend there in England. So
Maybe I'll go cover Bellator.
that might not be a bad idea. A good
Yeah.
free trip over to London.
Yeah. Cheerio. I got a date with the Queen. You know what I'm saying?
What's your other go-to phrase?
What's all this then, or what?
Oh, I thought it was the
Whole chicken.
well, not that one. The whole
That's my
chicken
go-to.
at Nando's.
That's my go-to phrase at Nando's.
I thought that was like
Abby's finally been stepping up his game. He's been sending me some whole chicken pictures.
yeah, but it's to feed his family,
Is
not
it?
just for him.
Ah, son of a bitch. I thought he was stepping
I
it
thought
up.
we'd at least get a hello, governor.
Hello, governor.
All right, UFC Fight Night 130. We finally got our main event in Liverpool, but here's what I want to talk about.
Who's this? Hello, governor. Who's that?
What was that?
It's Simon. well, John.
Poor Simon Head has
Has his voice came back yet?
No, he's been sick for like 3
Whoa.
months. I was joking the other day. All of a sudden, this universal
Dude,
health
that
care
shit-
doesn't seem like such a good idea
Well,
anymore.
that you almost. I hope that it doesn't permanently do scar or something with his vocal cords
Ooh.
to have it be that gone for that long. I bet he's probably shitting. And if he listens to this, he's probably like, "Bro, you're touching on my fears." Because there was a point where I lost my voice for. It was like weeks. I started getting afraid. It
never
was
be
a
able to
bad
speak
sick.
again?
I thought with my voice was going to be fucked. Because even you start hearing some people are like, always your people that have some sort of doctor training or something. They're like, bro, you're starting to get to that point where we're not quite sure if your vocal cords and your stuff might recover.
You're like, shut up.
You're like, don't tell me that, But hopefully he heals up. But I love teasing the fact. But yeah, when
I
I,
think
hear
our buddy,
him,
our buddy
I'm
Christian,
like,
Christian Ciccini hit him up and said, called him the Godfather or whatever. It was like, it's great to have him on there. All right, so listen,
let
Liverpool.
me tell you something.
Just talking about chicken and salmon again. Let me talk about Liverpool. Here's what bugs me. Neil Magny and Gunnar Nelson was announced as the co-main event.
Okay.
Does that mean that the UFC isn't holding a spot for Michael Bisping? For them to announce?
Oh, for the Liverpool?
Yeah, for them to announce that's the co-main event. Like, they didn't say we're adding this fight. They didn't say we're adding this main card
But you're
fight.
talking about a guy that has two recent losses.
Come
Why-
on.
why not make
You're
him-
telling me Bisping will be like number 3 or 4 in the car? Come on,
Yeah,
dude.
he would take it. I mean, well, I guess true. If it's going to be his last fight,
Right.
Yeah, make it a main or co-main. But
Well, not main because he doesn't want to go 5 rounds.
but
But you're telling me Bisping's last fight is going to be below Neil Magny and Gunnar
But what if
Nelson?
they're not sure
No
when it's going to be his
disrespect to
last?
Neil
Maybe
Magny.
they're thinking like,
Oh, no,
he's
it's
going
gonna be his last
he's
one.
going to pull it. Are you going to get it in writing?
No, it's
You
going to be his
think you
last
put
fight.
it in writing?
Well, here's what scares me is like I've actually heard that behind the scenes there are people telling him don't take another fight. That
Yeah.
You've got plenty of money in the bank.
Well,
And
we've
these are
been
people,
saying that for a
these are
while.
People, I mean, people that are close to him are saying, "Listen, don't
People,
fight."
I
again.
guarantee people for a while have been saying don't take another
Right.
fight. Ever since his eye took some serious damage, probably fights ago, I guarantee people in his inner circle are like, bro, you don't need to do this, you
Yeah.
know? Especially with the broadcasting gig. He has no need for it unless it's just finally signing off and just be like, all right, my athletic days like this are done. Dude's set up, and if anything else, you don't want to ruin that, like say if he took some physical damage that could affect the eye, maybe re-injure it, and then he can't read a teleprompter. Then what the fuck do you do? I mean, that makes
That's
it
a fair
very, very
point,
tough. But I get it if he wants to, have one last go or whatever, but I just
Man, I hadn't even thought
everything
about that.
that's pulled from him, and the dude, he's such a fighter. He has that fighter spirit, and I think that's why he's been able to do what he's done for so long. That somebody almost has to pull the rug out from him. And like you said, if they're saying like, yeah, this is the last time, because he might say, all right, this is my retirement. And then in 6 months, he was like, all right, one more time. How about one more
Right,
time? How about one
right.
more time? At some point, somebody's just got to close him, but enough's enough. You have more to lose than to gain. And at this point, it's not a title run. You've had the title. You've made enough money from what it sounds like, and you're doing good. What more do you need to prove? Unless it's just being able to just hang your hat and say, "All right, I had that itch. I just scratched it one last time."
I was fortunate enough to be in Shanghai for what is, as of right now, his last fight. And it was cool. I got a chance to interview him. I got a chance to do a one-on-one interview with Michael Bisping and talk to him.
And he's
because
a lot of fun.
Oh, he's so
a lot of fun
great, man.
week.
He's such a good dude, and we had a fun interview together, I thought. And then the fight obviously was just, it was heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and I love Kelvin Gastelum, you know what I mean? So I don't want to disrespect Kelvin Gastelum, but it was just like, oh man, just kind of let the air out, it was hard. And so I would like him to get that proper send off in England,
But
not
even then,
not in
who could he
Shanghai.
beat? Like,
well, that's
there's
the problem.
no good opponent for a send off at this point. There's nobody really that's like, all right, this makes sense, and this will be the great one. Because if that's the case, you want to give him a puff, just somebody that can barely fight, so that he has the most dominant final fight or whatever, and you want to have a send off. I love him fight week because I think what he brings so much excitement to it. He just his shit talking is on another level, and his excitement. He finds a way to get under the skin of his opponent, but
he does.
nobody makes sense in my head that would be
the best.
that's right there.
The best one. I always say this is what I really feel about Michael Bisping. I remember there were so many times where they just announced fights for Michael Bisping, and I'm like, whatever, I don't even care. And then by fight week, you're like, oh, this is amazing.
It's gonna be awesome.
And the best one ever was when he fought Vitor Belfort in Brazil, and they did the media day face-offs, and he got in his face, and he's like, Jesus isn't real. And I was just like, that is some next-level Michael Bisping trash talk right there. Jesus isn't real.
Look, he doesn't want Rockhold. He doesn't want Belfort. Who else is there? Let me pull up the middle.
There's not a lot of fights that make sense.
There
like for me,
isn't.
I was
He's throwing me some names.
I was pushing for the Masvidal fight because there is beef between them, but he says he doesn't want to come off like an asshole, and
then
Masvidal
it's exciting. Like both of them would really want to go
they
in
would
there
hype the fight up,
smash each other.
And Masvidal is a former lightweight. I'm not saying he doesn't hit hard. I'm not saying he couldn't knock out Michael Bisping, but I'd feel a lot better about Michael Bisping, who has fought at light heavyweight, going against Jorge Masvidal, who has fought at lightweight. You know what I mean? Like, I'd feel a little bit better about that in terms of the power. I'm not saying that he couldn't piece him up. He could, but I don't know. So I want to see Michael Bisping fight on that card. I agree. There's not a lot of matchups to me that stand out, but
Brunson
I want to see him.
excitement. Branch, I'm not excited to see him fight Uriah Hall. Look at the other guys.
What about light heavyweight?
Machida?
What about light heavyweight?
Does he even want to go up?
Well, yeah, because then he wouldn't have to cut.
But still, he's going to be fighting guys that have been used to fighting big, strong dudes.
I know. I heard somebody say, I was talking to somebody off, behind the scenes basically that suggested like a neat fight might be Jimmy Manoa, like an all-English fight. And I was like, Jimmy Manoa hits hard though, man.
That's the only name that I could, if there was somebody that.
But dude, he hits hard.
He does, but he's had what? Is he on 2 losses or just 1 loss?
Yeah, no, 2.
It makes sense in that sense. You got 2 guys coming with 2 losses, but there's no anything there. That's what you want Bisping send off to be. It's like,
and then what?
It's just it's a tepid fight.
If you're Manoa, why do you want to fight the legend from your country?
Well, I could see it in the fact that because then he could tick mark off. I think anybody fighting Bisping, it's a check mark.
But I feel like everybody
former
in England,
champ,
but I feel like everybody in England has so much respect for him. Like, you know what I mean?
It does.
It's not like America where you have 500 guys on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy. This was the pioneer from your country.
True. But I think that probably they also look and say like, this is like me. It's not like a Canadian or somebody's like, oh, I don't want to fight GSP because he was great for the sport. I think
I bet most Canadians wouldn't want to fight GSP.
Well, Canadians probably don't, but I guess
not talking Rory because obviously they were partners. But I bet, dude, if there was a,
I don't know. I just see him as.
You think Patrick Cote would be like, oh, fuck that dude up?
I think oh yeah, for sure. Just for the fact that who wouldn't want to hang their hat and say I beat the guy that was probably greatest at one point.
But I feel
You
like there's
know?
like well, I guess if
There
you're
was respect. I mean, like, it's not like
Maybe
they're
it-
going to talk shit to
maybe
him.
at the end of your career, because I brought up Kote, who's done.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe like at the end
Well,
of
I
your
mean, like,
career.
they're not going to go and fight week like, fuck you, I hate you. They're going to be like, I respect you. This is a guy I grew up watching. This is a guy that, has done everything for the sport. So to beat him would show that I've reached a whole nother level of my fighting.
It's true.
My skills are on the level of where I knew they could be some point, it just means they would go in and fight, and they would treat the fight as martial arts. They
Right.
were two high-level martial artists coming in and fighting. It would be respectful, but I don't see anybody turning that fight down because I have too much respect for the guy. I got too much. I just can't throw a punch at his face. I can't take that big paycheck. No. That's not for me. He's done too much for this sport. Like, that's not going to happen. Like,
You might be right.
that's a lot of money, but I don't know. Just for the whole man and what it just doesn't excite me. It makes sense if you had two guys that are really trying to fight and fight for the top of the division, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about this is one guy's send-off, a guy that's given a lot to the sport, and you want to give him what he wants, but for him to not really be calling out and like, bring me a name, it's like, well, then what's the point? If you don't have a name in mind, just hang it up. You've done amazing things for the sport, but if you're not excited, if you don't have your own checklist of fighters that you want to be your send off, don't leave it up to somebody else to be like, all right, pick me my last one, because then I almost feel like if he does win, then he's like, well, I just took that last fight. It's just a fight. There's nothing symbolic about it. If he's like, just send me some names.
You're hurting my feelings, but you're making sense.
I mean, I don't know. I want it to be a great fight. I mean, I love what Michael does, but I mean, I don't need to see him fight again. Not like I'm trying to retire the guy, but unless it means something for him and has something he wants to tick mark off, then you're just doing it to get beat on one last time when you don't really need to do it. If it's not going to do anything for your legacy, or it's not going to better you in some way, then what's the point? Unless you're just trying to go for money. And if that's the case, all right, fine, whatever. Just call it that, and let's not make a big deal about it.
Money, huh?
Well, then let's not make a big deal about it being your retirement fight. If it's just a fight and you're just going to take whatever random names and just pick one out of the hat of suggestions, then it just feels like you're already cheapening the fact that it's your retirement fight. I'm just like, at least call out somebody, make it big. Maybe outside of of his weight class, pick something. But I want it to be something that means something rather than just one last fight. And if it's just taking a name,
like
that's what it feels like.
If we had sound effects, we could just go
violin.
Just wah, wah. Like, I'm all down now, man.
Well, I know.
You're right.
I'm Debbie Downer, but it just, I don't know.
Well, as they say, it's better to get beat off than beat down. I don't know what they say. That didn't sound right.
But I appreciate it.
Okay, listen. It
I
is
appreciate the mental images that you just gave me.
It's a slow week for the sport. That does not mean it was a slow week for John Morgan and Cole Coffey. We actually spent a day at the Performance Institute earlier this week. They were having a media day for UFC 223. A couple of fighters that were in town and training, including Michael Chiesa. Got a chance to sit down and speak with him. Again, we've been begging the UFC to give us more access to the athletes at the Performance Institute. Hopefully this is a nice step in the right direction. If a guy's going to be here in camp, they're in town, why not give us a few minutes to go talk to him and get some highlights with him? So Michael Chiesa fights Anthony Pettis at UFC 223. Again, this is this card, literally, it's one of the most stacked UFC events ever, man, top to bottom. I have no problem saying that. The name recognition in the fights on this card are ridiculous. Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis is a key lightweight fight. We had a chance to talk to him about a number of things, kind of leading up to it, what it's like bumping into Kevin Lee at the Performance Institute, how his training's going, what he thinks about Anthony Pettis, what he thinks about, what his future holds, and figure we might as well play that for you. So here is Michael Chiesa.
Well, Mike's been 9 months on the sidelines for you after a tough outing the last time. So give me an idea what kind of the emotions been like, what the feelings been like, because I know that was a tough one last time out.
You got to have a short-term memory. So, I just put it behind me. I did my boo-hooing, and like I said, just put it behind me. I had a few injuries to take care of, and I'm back. It feels good, and my sole focus is Anthony Pettis. I have my brush-ins with Kevin Lee here at the PI, but all in all, I'm very focused on Anthony right now.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you decided to come out here to Las Vegas, obviously use this great facility. but you got to run into Kevin Lee every now and then. How do those interactions work? Do you try to avoid each other?
No, I don't try to avoid him. There's some hand gestures that have been thrown around, and you know, I don't like the guy, but I respect him as a competitor. And we actually had a little locker room discussion the other day and talked about a potential rematch in July. So you know, that's just locker room talk. But you know, it could happen, and it's been thrown around between him and I. So we'll see what happens. But you know, I just gotta stay focused on Anthony Pettis. That's where my mind's at. That's where my focus is, and you know, I'm really excited for April 7th.
What did you think about this matchup? I mean, Anthony, obviously a big name, former champion, had some kind of mixed results lately, but when they came to this fight, I mean, was it one that excited you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm all about quality fights. You know what I mean? Some people are always asking me, you know, you haven't fought often. You fought twice in the last 2 years, and you know, like I said, I had a few injuries to take care of, and I got those behind me. But I'm all about quality right now. You know what I mean? I got to the point in the UFC when I fought 3 times in a year and things of that sort, and I got myself in the rankings. So now I'm all about the quality fights, and here I am doing a media scrum before the biggest fight of the year against a former world champion. You know, that's a good mindset to have because it's gotten me into a good fight.
Pretty big time for the lightweight division. You talk about, I mean, there's a lot of big fights coming up, big names, big matchups. I mean, how do you see things kind of playing out right now? I know you're coming off a loss, but are you looking at kind of your path to the top?
Oh yeah, I'm always looking at my path to the top. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to be second best. I'm here to be world champion. You know, when the day comes I lose the drive to win a world title, then I'm just done. I mean, what's the point of being in the pinnacle of a sport if you're not striving to be the best at it? So, you know, it's an exciting time to be a lightweight. April's a huge month. I mean, we got a lot of big matchups. I don't even got to name them. You guys already know. But if you want me to, Paul Felder, Ali Quinta, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Kevin Lee, Edson Barboza. You know, that's a heavy load of lightweight fights, and that's really good. That's what this division needs. You know, we've had some stagnant type moments with, you know, even back when Anthony was champion. You know, he had injuries that held the division up, and this division's been kind of plagued with not inactivity, but just not movement in the top 5 in the championship picture. So, you know, it's an exciting time to be a lightweight.
I guess kind of touching on that, I mean, Conor McGregor does come back at the end of this year, like most people think he will. I mean, do you feel like he has a right to step into the title shot and face the winner of Khabib and Tony Ferguson?
You know, it's a double-edged sword for me. Yes, I say yes as a fan because the guy was a 2-division champion at one point. You know what I mean? He's had to relinquish one title. We'll see if he's got to relinquish the other one. But yeah, you know, he's earned his right to go in and out. I mean, he's done big things in the sport, but the other side of me says no, because I'm going to beat Anthony Pettis. I'm going to jump in the top 5, and I'm going to say, screw you. You're not leapfrogging me. You can fight me for that spot again. You know, you should have stayed champion. You should have stayed active. And, you know, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's hard to say. It's hard to put my thumb on that one.
I know you're not looking ahead of this fight, but I mean, I also know that you're kind of a fan and you think about things the way they lay out. James Vick is a guy that keeps calling you out. I mean, is he a guy that's in your future at all? Does that fight make any sense if you win here?
If you knock someone out, would you want to rematch him? Exactly. Next question.
Give me your plans for 2018. How do you see this? How do you see this year laying out?
Going undefeated for the year. You know, that's really right now. I'm in the best place I've been in my whole career. You know, I'm here at the UFC PI, not just for this scrum. I've done my whole camp here. My body's healthy. This is the best I've ever been going into a camp or going into a fight. And I know it's so cliche to say every guy's like, this is the best version of myself, blah, blah, blah. But this really is. You know what I mean? I'm around a world-class staff that's pushing me to the limit, but also making sure I don't break myself, which happens. You know, that's something that I tend to have a problem with. So, you know, I feel like this is the best product I'm going to bring into the Octagon on April 7th. So, you know, this is a really exciting time for my career, and you know, my goal is to end this year at #1 contender. You know, I got to go make a statement. I got to go beat Anthony better than Poirier did. I got to go do better than the other guys. That's a tall order. We're talking Max Holloway, Rafael dos Anjos. We're talking some big name guys. I got to do it better than them. So, you know, that's the plan. #1 contender by December. Ooh, that rhymes. #1 contender by December.
It's Chiesa time.
It's Chiesa time.
Just recently, you were front row at a WWE event at Ronda Rousey's first appearance. How did that come about, being there with Cormier and Travis?
So my awesome manager, Daniel Rubenstein, manager extraordinaire, who happens to be good friends with Daniel. I'm a big fan of Daniel as well. We always have good interactions in passing, but Daniel arranged me to go hang out with DC and his team while they were here filming for Tough. So went and hung out with them, and he brought me out to dinner and was just like, hey, you want to go to a WWE event? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I've never been to one. And, you know, I was all about the Attitude Era as a kid. So, you know, it was like something on my bucket list to check off. And, it wasn't until we were like walking into the arena that they started talking about Ronda, and I'm like, what about Ronda? Like, dude, she's signing her contract tonight. I was like, whoa, like I didn't realize we were going to this type of magnitude of an event, you know what I mean? So it was such a cool experience, and to be there with DC and his guys, those guys are a riot, dude. I had a blast.
What is the atmosphere like compared to an MMA event?
To me, this is gonna sound bad, but it does. You gotta let me see this answer through. It's kind of childish, but not in a bad way. It's just like it's good fun. You know what I mean? There's not like, when you're at a UFC event, there's bad nerves as to who's gonna win. You know what I mean? This is real fighting. These guys, like, there's nothing scripted, nothing planned. Like, these guys got to go slug it out, and someone's gonna get their hand raised. So being there, it's like, yeah, in the back of my mind, I know it's scripted, but I just feel like a kid, and I'm just kind of letting go, and just having a good time. And I got Roman Reigns was like 10 feet away from him, and he's like 10 feet tall, and I was just like, screw you, Roman Reigns, like talking crap. So I really engaged in the event, and it was a blast. I could definitely see myself going to another one.
What do you think about Ronda crossing over and other fighters doing stuff like that?
Good for Ronda, and good for the other fighters. If that's something that they want to do, and this. MMA is a good platform to move on to something like that. We've seen collegiate wrestlers like Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar make that move and be very successful at it. But, for Ronda, good for her. Some people try to talk crap about, the end of her career and her fights with Holly and Amanda. But, I'd tell those people to screw off. She's done a lot for the sport. She had a great run as a champion, and good for her to move on to another avenue. And, she's going to be very successful. She's going to make a buttload of cash, and she's going to have a lot of fun. And I'm happy for her. That's awesome.
What was it like watching wrestling next to DC? Because supposedly he's a very excitable man.
It was awesome, man. I was kind of feeding off his energy, so he was just pumped up, and he's talking trash to guys, and so I like totally jumped on board, and and if those guys actually took anything I said to heart, I would have just been like, I'm with him, bro. You got to deal with this guy. So it was fun, man.
Is it true that your manager is helping you sharpen up your wrestling technique for this camp?
No. I try to get him out there on the mats, but I don't think he wants anything to do with my head snapping and my head draw series. So I'm letting him. I'll let him bask in his glory days, Mr. Division I. I see you over there.
Last thing for me too. What is your prediction for Khabib and Tony Ferguson? How do you see that one going down?
Well, here's my educated opinion, and I think this is going to be pretty damn accurate. You got Tony Ferguson, who has possibly the most weapons out of anybody at lightweight, maybe in the UFC. The guy is as dynamic as it gets. Striking, elbows, knees, grappling, wrestling. He really covers the bases in terms of the skill set of a mixed martial artist. He's got way more weapons than Khabib. But Khabib has the equalizer. We're talking that wrestling and that pressure. It's unparalleled. You know what I mean? And I think that, like I said, that's the equalizer in the fight. I think that Khabib's going to get him down, but I think that he's going to pay for it. I think that, Tony on his back is a very dangerous man. We saw in the Kevin Lee fight, we've seen in a lot of his fights, the guy can throw elbows, he can throw up submissions with minimal effort, very, very busy on bottom. So, I don't see Tony really trying to stop the takedowns. Tony's he's a 10th planet black belt, well accredited grappling, and, I don't really see him trying to stuff the takedowns, bless you. And, but Khabib's going to pay for it. But that being said, I still think Khabib wins 3-2, possibly split decision. I think Tony's going to win some rounds off his back. Tony wins, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's hard to, I just don't know if Tony has great grappling, but I just don't know if it's the right grappling style to beat Khabib. I think to beat Khabib, you got to maintain the scramble once you hit the floor and try to, spin around and scramble into a dominant position. I think Tony's going to accept the guard, and, rightfully so. He's got a dangerous guard, so I don't think that's a bad thing, but I don't think it's the best thing.
So that's Michael Chiesa. Big fight at UFC 223 as well. A lot of big fights on that card. Bummed, man. I got to commentate a fight one time with Michael Chiesa over in Italy for Venator.
He keeps throwing it out.
He wants to go back. They're firing it back up. Venator is firing it back out. Actually, my man Luke Barnott hit me up and it was like, hey, you guys want to do it? And I can't do it anymore. It's damn USA Today contract. Love you, USA Today.
Yeah, we haven't. Oh man,
They
Luke,
just
I
won't let
haven't
me
thought
commentate.
about that cat in a while.
Yeah, you hit me up the other day. It was good. All right, listen. Hey, just want to throw out there, all you fine listeners.
I like how you brought it down. Like
I just want to bring it down for a
you
minute.
brought it down a little bit. Like
Listen,
all you fine.
fine listeners. If you want to help us out, if you want to do some great things for us, do me a favor. Go to patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow. If you're a believer in this podcast, if you think that we provide fine entertainment value, if you enjoy what we do, and I get it if you don't, but if you enjoy what we do, do us a favor. Help us out there. Support us. We want to grow this thing. We want to get better. We have $3, $5, and $10 a month levels.
Yeah, we do.
Taking this thing in a whole different direction. But listen, no, we would appreciate it.
For the right amount of money, I'll take it any direction you want.
I don't think we have that level on Patreon. But listen, patreon.com/MMA Roadshow. If you do enjoy what you're hearing here and you want to take it to the next level, if you can
To the next level.
jump on board and help us out. Listen, we're always going to keep this content free. We have had some conversations about putting some stuff behind a paywall, but I want the content to be free. I get it. Not everybody has extra money.
You know what? One thing that is behind the paywall
What?
is all these streams that I've been fucking up trying to put the links.
All right, well,
on.
so here's what I was gonna say is so what we've promised to everybody is that, like, listen, the money that we get here, we're not trying to take this money and get rich off of it, but we have things that we want to do, and to do that costs money, and we've gone out of pocket, and finally our significant others have said, stop spending money, you jackasses. We have other bills. So we need some help. So we haven't even gotten any money from Patreon.com yet. Not that we don't have some fine subscribers, because we do.
We do.
Like our man Hans Borkelin, who stepped up his game. He's a star. My man handling business. What we did was, even though we haven't gotten that money in yet, it was already burning a hole in our pocket. So we went out and we got this Mevo Plus camera, live streaming, so we can live stream the show no matter where we are. Now that might not mean a lot when we're at the Casa de Coffee. I'm not saying it doesn't.
You could judge my background here. It's
can still.
it's kind of cluttered. It's kind of dirty, but this is where the magic happens.
This
is where
where the magic
I play a
happens.
lot of Fortnite on that couch that you see in the background.
You're gonna have to take on Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh, dude, he probably worked me. I play the Fortnite. There's two different versions. There's Battle Royale. That's what everybody knows. That's 100 people getting in there and just you land, you find resources, you shoot each other. There's also the prepaid sort of closed beta, and that's where you fight zombies. So you're still playing with other people on the world, but it's usually about 4 people.
You had chicken for lunch, you say?
You're blanking out. You're blanking out. You hear game talk. It's like I'm bringing up WWE again, but like you fight zombies, and it's super super fun. But yeah, that couch in the background, that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens. The Fortnite magic.
So if you want to see where the magic happens, you got to log in and you got to subscribe to the patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow for that $10 level. So maybe it matters here, but what about when we're on the road and we got some cool stuff going on?
We will have some cool background, some cool little stuff. So, and it's literally a work in progress. Like the stream that I posted tonight, I think for the most part wasn't really even the right link that I put because of stupid YouTube, whatever. So I apologize for anybody that actually goes back and tries to watch it on the page. We're learning. The link will be on the YouTube, and actually that link that you have now, the correct one, will allow you, I believe, to go back and watch the whole thing after the fact, so you can kind of see us stumble through the tapings, and that's the sort of stuff that we want to give those of you that have kind of amped up the level, and are at the $10 level, or you're going to do the Ryan Vanoy thing and even step it up even further. You want to change that donation and put more. You can do that, and but yeah, I mean. I love it. I set one of those small goals. I was like, man, I wonder if we could find 50 like-minded people that just want to build this and start small and build up. And we're a fifth of the way. We got 10 right now, so it's slowly going. So I appreciate everybody taking that.
It does mean a lot.
It does mean a lot. And so we're trying. So that's us fumbling and being jackasses and not putting the right links and having video of us doing whatever. This is our attempts to start doing this. We will figure it out. We will get better.
And I tell people, if $10 is too much, I get it. If you want to jump on that $5 level, dude, tell us what you like. Anybody that's at that $5 level, we'll give you access to us if you want to tell us what
and
topics
maybe the
you want us
best,
to discuss.
that's it. Maybe the
questions
best way.
you wanna,
I send a lot of
deal with
posts
fighters.
straight through Patreon, and I feel like we didn't get any reaction through the messages when I was trying to ask if people were trying when we were trying to get questions in London. You know, so if that's not the best way, if maybe those messages don't come through to you guys like I think they are, I could set up a separate mailing list, you know, and I'm totally cool with that. To create a list that deals with, so we can make sure that you're getting the messages, because we wanted to reach out and see if people wanted to ask certain questions that we could go through and pick the best questions to ask some of these fighters. A lot of times we don't have the most time, so we can't go through a huge list, but if there's some real gems of questions, we're going to work them in there, and we will do that for you guys. So
if you're willing to help us out,
you know,
all we want to do is just open the road to you. We get to have this thing, and I know you guys want to come along for the ride, so that's all we want to do.
So let me know if you're not getting the messages through Patreon. If you're not getting the stuff, then I'll figure out another way to get it to you. I'm assuming the system works how I think it is, but if you're not getting the messages that have asked those things, let me know. So like you $10 people, she got a message that we were airing live and that had a link to it, and I apologize for the link that didn't work at first, but let me know if you even just got the message, so I know that the system's working. If it's not working, we'll find a way to work around, and we'll just skip this whole Patreon message session. We'll use the old school email.
That's what's up.
So let us know.
Patreon.com/The MMA Roadshow. Do it. All right, we got a little project going on the side of the animation project. Oh, it's making progress. Should we just leave it? Should we just leave it at that? Just leave it at that?
It is. I guess we teased it last time, but it has moved forward. I mean, we could probably. Well, I don't even we want to say who are the subjects, but there will be two. There will be. We'll say there will be a street fight story, and then there is a first fight story.
There you go.
There it is. That's teasing it enough.
That's a good tease right there.
I won't tell you who the subjects are, but
these things ain't cheap, so we don't know what we can spoil. We can spoil stuff that's just ours.
Yeah, we can spoil the EA3 shit or UFC 3.
Oh, by the way, Snoop is still in there.
He
by
is
the way.
still in it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, EA. We told you it was good, and we appreciate that you kept that in there.
Why do they hate us?
Well, you know, they just. I'm just glad that they listen to us and they pay attention.
Thank you, EA.
You know, so thank you,
They went from
EA.
telling me they'd put me in the game to F you both.
F you both. We hate you. UFC, you should be mad at them, but then, you know, I'm glad that they took our words and they kept Snoop.
I've been playing some EA UFC 3 with my son. He loves it, man.
Did you buy it? You get a hookup
yeah.
or something.
Well, no, I bought it. My mom sent me some money for my birthday.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought about getting
So
it. I thought about getting it because I have the EA access on the Xbox, so you get discount.
Right.
Still with the discount, it ain't cheap. I mean, like they're nickel and dime you. They're like, oh, we're gonna give you a discount, but it's like might as well be just like $2 off.
My son likes playing with Junior Dos Santos.
Price.
Obviously, Junior Dos Santos is like his favorite fighter in the world because Junior pulled him out of the crowd in Dallas and like hit mitts with him and stuff.
But I saw the videos. It looks like he's got Derek down too, so I think he's been doing some Derek.
He has been playing some Derek Lewis. So Junior Dos Santos is his favorite. Derek Lewis is now his second favorite, and Mark Diakiese is he likes the red mohawk.
I was gonna say that's random.
The red mohawk. He's just like, I love the red mohawk. So he likes Mark Diakiese.
That's cool.
All right, listen. While we were at the Performance Center, a couple of things I wanted to mention real quick. We did see John Dodson walking around the Performance Center. Or
we did.
Performance Institute.
We also saw another person.
Who else was it?
Working out that looked solid.
Oh, I was going to say
fight.
Henry Cejudo. Wait, who are you talking about?
Joby.
Joseph Benavidez.
Joseph Benavidez.
So maybe it was after you left. Had you already left when Henry Cejudo came out, or did you see Cejudo?
I didn't see Henry.
Okay, so I saw Henry Cejudo
I was
as
going to
well.
say, where did Henry come from?
I saw Henry Cejudo, and I watched his practice for a little bit as well. And I want to say, Ali Abdelaziz was there as well. I know Ali Abdelaziz is not a lot of people's favorite person or whatever, but the dude
Henry
was
under him now.
Yes, and Ali Abdelaziz was literally running the practice. He was like. There was a whole group of them, so there was a couple other people there, a couple of the local fighters, and some training partners, whatever. But Ali was like in there, like helping, like give instruction and like rolling with the guys and all. I don't know. I was kind of impressed. I know a lot of people hate him, but I gotta say, man, there's not a lot of managers that I see like will get in there and get on the mats and throw down. And it's funny
it was
because
probably under his suggestion that they even had it together, so he probably felt like he had to run it. It was probably like, hey, you need to come in. We're going to come in here. We're going to go have some contract talks. Then we're gonna go do it. But yeah,
was
we
cool
did.
to
But we
see.
did see Dotson,
We-
and I guarantee
He was
that
probably
was
there
my
for his
thought
contract.
that he was there for contract because he didn't have a contract. His last fight was his last fight of his contract.
So we did see Joseph Benavidez as well, and what's funny is, so I left straight from the Performance Institute and went to Extreme Couture because my son's practice was there, and I met my wife and my son there, and I saw Joseph Benavidez there too. So I mean, he's putting in time.
Wow.
So he was at the Performance Institute, and then he was at Extreme Couture putting in practice. So he's
Has he always done stuff in Extreme?
yeah, he's been
Has
there. Yeah, he's been there for a while. So,
Okay.
But I was just saying,
still
I mean,
do the
he's
treadmill when you
he's
go there?
doing he's doing full speed. Who, me doing the
Yeah.
treadmill?
I thought you
A
did the
little
treadmill
bit,
when
a
you've
little
been
bit.
going over there.
I'm not doing
Slacking
much of
on the
that shit.
treadmill?
No, I am. It's just I try to. I also try to.
Here I am over assuming that every time you go to Extreme while your kid's doing it, I thought you were on the
No,
treadmill.
man. To be honest with you, I just love watching my kid practice, man. I'm not gonna
That's
lie.
true.
Like I like it's.
I bet you could still look over and watch him while you're on the treadmill. They're pretty close,
right.
unless he's in the other room.
All right, thanks, bro. I like to spend time with my. It's like a father-son bonding.
Yeah.
Like I like watching them do takedowns, and I like watching them. I learn and.
It's not like the treadmill's in the other room. I mean, it's like right there. It's like right next to the thing.
All right, man. Tell me about your chicken lunch again. Listen, we said this. The press conference. The schedule in Brooklyn is full. I will say
ridiculous.
it's very, very full. So we're gonna have a ton of content next week. But I will say one thing that hasn't gotten a lot of attention yet. It's on the PR schedule, but I haven't seen a lot of press for it. But just FYI, it does say like the 25th anniversary press conference. Whatever. It's our understanding basically that there's going to be another one of these big press conferences where we have a ton of
Like
fighters.
the time is now.
The time is now. Go big.
Go big.
Man, do you remember them
they
all?
went big with the go big.
Go big. The time is
Time
now.
is now.
That's all I remember.
There was because what was the Connor and Jose?
We have the fights. No, just that's Arby's. We have the
Was
meats.
that the go big one? No, the go big wasn't.
No, Connor and Jose had their own. They had the world
No,
tour.
but remember they had no, because they were there when Ronda
oh,
was there. They had
yeah. That was the red
everybody there.
panty night and all that.
Yeah. What was that? That was UFC. Was that 166?
I don't know. Anyway, it's
that
going to be
was
one of
another
those.
big one.
It's
That
going to be
was
so.
another big one.
FYI, be ready for that. We're going to see a lot of face-offs. I'm curious because here's my theory: the Colby Covington Rafael dos Anjos fight has not been announced yet, right? I think they're holding it to announce there.
And that's what somebody thought. I thought they were saying that they thought Till.
The Till might, but
the
they
Till
announced
was
that today.
There, they announced it.
I think maybe that's because everything we've heard is that RDA and Colby's going to happen, but I wonder if they're going to try to announce it there.
Seems like that's not enough to have a conference.
No, but there's going to be a whole There's going to be like 14 fighters, 18 fighters. I'm just saying. I bet they're trying to save that as news to have that as like and this.
Yeah.
No.
No, it works.
don't like my theory?
It certainly doesn't. Like I wouldn't want to go to a conference and have that be.
No. There's like 18
everything.
fighters there. I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
bet that's a little nugget that they want to announce there.
Yeah.
You seem unimpressed by my theory.
Well, no. I think it's fine. I'm just not impressed by that fight. I don't know.
I like the fight. I don't like the
Yeah,
interim
just
title
like,
stakes. I don't like the interim title stakes. No, I like the
Yeah.
fight. I like the fight, especially if Tyron's not ready to go.
Yeah.
If Tyron's not ready to go,
But Tyron's ready to go. That's
no,
the
he
thing.
said I think he said he still wants to be out till summer.
He wants to be out, but he's ready to go. He's been saying that he's been ready to go for a while. I don't know. I just feel like he's slow rolling it. I mean, like everybody has said that it's been, but when we did the interview with him in wherever it was,
Are you hating on Tyron Woodley?
No, I just feel like he's already ready to go. He's just slow rolling it. Like I feel like he's good to go. He's just there's no match that he wants.
I'd be slow rolling it too. Did you see that house he was in the other day that he rented
Right?
for? Oh my god! I think
was
I
nice.
don't normally watch. I think that was what was that like Periscope or something that he was doing?
I think it was, yeah, because it was on Twitter.
Yeah,
so
walking
it was
through some
Periscope.
house that he
was
rented in
super,
L.A.
super
or
nice.
SoCal.
So he's enjoying his time off. He's enjoying his time off.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's already in fight shape for me. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm hearing doubt. But I should say, how great does April look? Like, I mean, the fights that are happening in April are sick. And fortunately, you and I will be together in Brooklyn. You and I will be together in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah.
And then I will do Atlantic City on my own. But we will still have full coverage there. So a lot of good fights in April.
Well, sort of full coverage.
Half coverage.
Half coverage.
Not 4K HD,
Not
beautiful looking video coverage.
Yeah, girl.
All right, let's get
You
impressed.
started it.
All right.
Somehow you did some voice that got me all in the mood.
Patreon.
Maybe it was just talking about the chicken.
Patreon.com
Chicken
/ the MMA Roadshow.
/ fried chicken.
All right, listen. Evan Dunham was also at the
Awesome.
at the Performance Institute the other day, and I want to play this for two reasons. One, because I'm a big fan of Evan Dunham, even though I have found out before that he hates me. But I like
Who
him.
doesn't hate you?
I get him. I think it's a case of mistaken identity, and so I never know if he's looking at me funny.
He thinks you're Steve Morocco or something.
No, I don't know. I found out at some point he hates me. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. But I thought he gave a great interview, and then I thought the reason people should hear this as well is because there were a group of journalists.
They were.
And I think everybody was pretty much there for Chiesa. Brandon Moreno was there. Evan Dunham was there.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno's English is getting better. The only reason we're not really playing it is because it's still a second language and he's still learning. I just hate when people like mess with somebody because their English isn't perfect. But Evan Dunham gave a great interview, and then but what I thought you did a great job because
Whoa.
I asked several questions to start this interview out, and then the peanut gallery got kind of quiet.
It did.
And I thought you stepped in well. I think Cold Coffee is no longer just a videographer. Cold Coffee
Yes,
is now a full-fledged journalist, interviewer extraordinaire. I thought you
get my
killed
badge.
it.
I get my badge.
You got your badge.
My scout badge.
You'll get your pin from the MMA Journalists Association. You've qualified.
Then I will have officially gotten something from it.
You'll qualified. So I thought we should hear from Evan Dunham.
Yeah.
Even though for whatever reason he hates me, Cold Coffee did an awesome interview.
Evan, it's last month marked your 9-year anniversary in the UFC, man. I got to ask, I mean, when you got into this, did you ever think you'd have this kind of longevity and be doing this at the UFC level for so long?
You know, I hope so. 9 years is a long time, but I feel I'm just getting going. I got a few more years left in me for sure. You know, being here at the PT and at the PI has been helping me a lot. You know, it's keeping me young. So with this place, I'm going to be around for a while.
I was going to say, I mean, as long as you've been around, it seems like you're fighting better than you ever have. So, I mean, what is the key to your success as of late?
I think a little less is more sometimes, learning to pull back at certain times, not beating myself up too much, doing lots of due diligence outside of camp, staying in good shape. That's, I think, the key for me getting a little better. So I don't feel like I'm slowing down. I don't feel like I'm regressing at all. I actually feel like my technique's getting better. Physically, I feel better too.
Coming off a draw last time out, kind of ended the nice win streak. What's the feeling after a draw, man? Such a kind of a unsatisfying ending to a fight, I guess.
Well, I don't see it as the ending of a win streak because I didn't lose. So, a draw, I didn't know how to quite deal with it when it first happened because I never had a draw before in 30-some fights. And so after it happened, I was a little bummed out, but in retrospect, I'm okay with it. It was a good performance. Got cracked early, was able to, come back quite a bit. I thought I won the fight, but I'm sure he feels that way too. So I don't see it as a loss. I see it as a win.
Yeah, originally you were matched up with Mairbek Taisimov for this upcoming card. I got to ask, when that fight was given to you, were you aware of all the visa issues and the problems he's had? So, I mean, was this something that was in the back of your mind the whole time that I might lose my opponent?
Yeah, I actually didn't know too much about him. Besides, he's on a good win streak, a lot of power. But then I started to hear that stuff a little bit after signing. So, that was in the back of my head. But I trained for him. I didn't expect anything besides to fight him. But when I just kind of told myself, if there's a change of opponent, no big deal. Switch gears. And when it did switch and I get a different opponent, I think it's actually a style that is a little bit favorable to me. So it was an easy switch for me.
Was there a fear at all when you lost your opponent? Because I know you've had your share of fights drop out over the years. I mean, was there any concern like this fight might not happen?
No concern that it wouldn't happen. I knew I'd get on the card because there was enough time. I'm just happy to have an opponent. I'm happy to have somebody who's ready to get in there and get after it, who's on a little bit of a winning streak himself. So I'm happy with the opponent. It would be nice to still have Mairbek, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Last thing for me, you've been pretty complimentary of Bobby Mercier so far. I mean, break him down. Kind of what do you see? Why do you feel like it's kind of maybe a more favorable matchup for you?
He's a ground guy. I like the ground. I'm no stranger to it. So there's no there's no question on what he wants to do. He wants to get you against the cage. He wants to use that inside-outside trip, get you to the ground, kind of pressure you, make you turtle up, turn your back, jump on your back. And he's really good about finishing when getting on the back. But I see that being very difficult for him with me. So I like to fight grapplers. I think this will be a really good fight. It should be really exciting too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Let me ask one more because I know your affinity for grappling. So I got to think Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov to you is the fight that you're looking forward to seeing. So give me your analysis on that. Who do you think wins that fight and why?
I'm gonna go with. I think they're both great fighters. I think they're both good what they're able to do. And I think what's going to determine who wins and loses is if Ferguson can keep things moving. If Khabib's able to control him on the ground, like slow things down, I think it's going to be Khabib all day. But if Ferguson's able to keep those scrambles going, keep everything moving, I think it'll be Ferguson. But like I said, Khabib's really good at slowing things down. So if he's able to do that, I'm going with Khabib. If it's, the scrambles keep up, I'm going with Ferguson. It should be a real fun fight, and I'm looking forward to it as a fan.
I know you said you were taking care of your body and trying to give it a little bit more time, but 2018, how busy are you hoping to be?
I'm looking for about 2 fights. If things go really good in one of them, and I'm able to do a quick comeback, then I do 3. Just kind of depends. I always give myself plenty of time after a fight, even if I don't take a lot of damage, to recover, for the head and just for the body. I always take 6 weeks of no contact at all afterwards, except for maybe grappling. I would like to get at least 1 more in this year, if not 2 more.
How's the gym doing?
Gym's doing great, really busy. Got 2 daughters. I got the gym. I got training, better too busy than not busy enough is my motto right now.
Sure. Well, even maybe having the gym and watching that grow as a business and having sort of life set outside of fighting, but how has that helped improve your overall fighting game, having that different aspect, being able to sit back and watch these fighters come up, from the get-go?
The gym's helped me a lot, opening, since I've opened, I haven't lost, I took a draw, but like I said, I don't consider that a loss. And I think it's helped me because I'm not so single-minded anymore. Everything's not fight. Everything is not about what's going to happen in the next fight. It's a lot of different moving pieces, between my daughters and the gym. And so it doesn't give me too much time to obsess over one thing. And when I'm not obsessing over one thing, I think I'm able to be a little bit more natural in all of them without forcing anything. So I think it's helped a lot. The guys and gals that I have down at the gym are great. Every time I walk in there, it's like walking in, friends and family, and it's a really good time. It's brought the love for the sport back for me. I know that gets lost sometimes for guys that have been in the game for a while. They get a little burnt out, but I don't feel that way at all right now, especially because of the gym.
Well, I guess because of that, you have been in the game for a long time, but it sounds like you've already started setting yourself up for after the game. But how long? I know I'm not trying to retire or anything, but have you thought about when makes sense for you now that you have a business, you have young girls? Has there been is it 40? Is it 42? Are you even thinking about it, or is there an end game that you're already thinking about at some point?
I always just kind of equate it down to one thing, and that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is looking back and saying, "What if?" I don't ever want to say, "What if?" If I cut it too short, I don't want to be that old guy sitting on the couch explaining to my grandkids, could have done this if I would have. No, I won't. No what ifs. I'm going to hammer it out until I know there's nothing left. And when there's nothing left, I'll know, and then I'll be okay walking away. And I'm not putting any time on that.
You're getting better with age, but how is your overall game evolved? How has it changed through the years to make you get better?
I'm fighting smarter. In my earlier part of the career, I used to go out there and just bang it out. And, I've been known for getting out there and just leaving it all on bloody mess. And, I still go out there and give it all. I'm never going to shy away. It shows in the last fight. Got cracked really good. Definitely a 10-8 first round, but I was able to battle back, win the next 2. But I fight smarter. I use my technique and my distance to control things a little bit better, set stuff up. I'm a very greedy fighter now, meaning I only want to do what I want to do. I'm not going to give you an inch if I can. And instead of saying, okay, I'll meet you in the middle and we'll just duke it out. So I think that equates to a lot of me getting better.
I know that UFC will continue to evolve with different fighters and new faces coming around and so forth, but just your thoughts on liking to see maybe perhaps Conor getting back into the ring and you know what it does, and what are your thoughts on it?
I hope he does. I think for his sake, I think he would want to. Like kind of talking about what ifs. Never being able to say what if. He's at a point where he's obviously one of the, best in the world. He's still got to beat a few guys to kind of keep that ball rolling at this point because he's been away for so long. But I don't see him not wanting to get back. He's a fighter. All fighters want to get back. I understand the layoff. If I made that kind of money, I'd take that kind of layoff too. You'd see me on a yacht in some ocean hanging out as well. But I think there would be a time where you get that itch again, and he's going to have to scratch it. So we'll see him back, I think.
Something about him getting back into the octagon. Huh?
Yeah, I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back within the year, in my opinion.
Who would you rather see him fight? Could be Tony.
Whoever wins.
And I was curious about, a lot of fighters talking about 165-pound division. Do you find that there's a need for that?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm not saying I would or wouldn't go 65, but I think it's good. Every 10 pounds is good. The more champions that we have, I think the better. Obviously you don't want too much saturation of the sport, but I think it'd be good because that 15-pound is a big jump. You can see considerable size difference in 15 pounds, especially with guys cutting the way they do. And so, I think the 65 would be good, but I really think the 95 would be good too, because that's, you're talking big weight. So I would like to see a 65, a 95, 205, every 10, and then, once you get a little bit bigger. I'd like to see the unlimited too, personally, just as a fan perspective.
Who are the 2 or 3 fighters that you would go pay to see fight right now that you're impressed with?
To go pay. Man, I'm cheap. I got 2 daughters, you gotta watch that stuff at home. Let's see here. There's so many good guys. There's so many entertaining fighters nowadays. But I like the old school gritty guys, I like Matt Brown, man. I like Matt Brown. I like Donald Cerrone. I like the Khabib Ferguson fight. If I wasn't fighting on that card, I'd be watching that one for sure. I'm a big fan of that one. There's lots. The 55 division, 70 division, all the top echelon guys there are great. I like them. The whole sport's just got so many good guys, and it drives me nuts when there's so much attention towards 1 or 2 guys when there's so much great talent right now, as opposed to, kind of gravitating towards that and really appreciating the broad range of talent. So there's a lot of guys I'd pay to go see.
All right, so Evan Dunham, who may or may not hate me.
I don't think he hates it.
Anyway, he's fighting at UFC 223.
I'm surprised you didn't know about the ear story that I brought up that was
didn't
off
know
camera.
about that story.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know,
Oh, this is a great story.
This came up after we had stopped rolling on it, because it popped back in my head, and I want to say it was like Japan, and maybe he clarified and it was Japan or it was somewhere, but Evan was cornering or with another fighter that was
fighting. He said it was with Brad Tavares.
Tavares.
Yep.
And was it Japan?
He said it was.
I feel it was Japan, but in practice, he was either going for double legs or whatever, but in wrestling, his ear had rubbed up against the side of a leg, while they were doing grappling, and it literally almost tore his ear off.
Yeah, this would have been March 2013. Brad Tavares fought Ricky Fukuda in Saitama Super Arena. This is, this was
what year
a great
was it?
night. 2013. What a great night that was. Vanderlei Silva versus Brian Stan in the main event. Oh my God, what a classic
that
fight
was crazy.
that was.
That was crazy. But yeah, so he literally, because I saw him at the airport and he had gauze tape over his ear, and I was like, bro, you didn't even fight. Like, what happened? And so he tells this odd story, and it's like one of those things. We all just think that our appendages and things they're on for good. We're good, but to know that you can, while grappling around, almost have your ear ripped off, and it was just like, I think just the stars aligned to cause this freakish thing, but he literally almost ripped his ear off in training at this while cornering in Japan, and it had completely slipped my mind. I hadn't thought about it since, because this was my time when I worked the UFC, and now that I hear that it was 2013, like almost 5 years ago, and it's funny because he's like, "Oh no, it's still here, still on,
You're still there,
you're still there." So
I had totally forgotten about that, man. That's crazy.
yeah, it was just bizarre.
All right, listen, I should say, while we appreciate everybody that goes to patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow to help us out, if you can't do that, do us a favor. At least go into iTunes, make sure you're subscribed, and then, of course, rate us, review us. Give us some stars if you can. That helps the algorithms, as they say, so other people might find the show. And, of course, any feedback you leave, we always love to read that as well, especially if it's positive. Not such a fan of negative feedback, but it is what it is. All right, quick shout-out to Josh Barnett. Won the decision over an arbitrator, over USADA. Guy kept incredibly detailed records of every supplement he took, everything he took, was able to prove his case.
Let that be a lesson to the
Let that be a
fighters out
lesson.
there.
I mean, the guy nailed it. The lesson is what you're supposed to do is any supplement you take, first of all, keep incredibly detailed records about what you're taking. Always save a little bit of it. Don't take the last of it. Save a little bit of it and just throw it in a closet somewhere. Hang on to it so that way the testers can test that supplement itself, the actual batch you took. Smart. I mean, he nailed everything. The only bad thing he did, he took himself out of the testing pool, so now he still has to wait 6 months.
Oh,
he took himself out of the pool. I know. It's like he nailed every step of it except
They
for
took
that.
it out because of this whole arbitration. He wasn't
Yeah, I
sure
think he
what
was
gonna happen.
frustrated. He was like, I don't know about this garbage. I don't want to keep getting tested.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
I can get it.
And I get it. He was probably pissed off and frustrated.
Damn.
And now it's going to cost him 6 months because of he can't get the Brock Lesnar exception since all that happened. So I thought it was awesome that he nailed it, and then I felt bad because he dropped the ball at one step.
That is super important tip, especially when it comes. And you wonder why that doesn't happen more often. Guys are keeping track. I mean, that's when it goes to show. Like, I mean, if you take maybe so few things that that you can write them down and what's going in your body, but to have it written down and be able to, like, here's what I've taken. Let's start from here.
And then and then here's the leftovers
there's no
if you want to test it.
Yeah, there's no wishy-washy bullshit.
Props to him, man.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff.
Props
Good
to
for him.
And last thing, because I just wanted to give a shout, Fiasco Jones, good friend of the show, Fiasco Jones. He's got his Odd Normal podcast going on.
Odd Normal.
So if you can't get enough Fiasco Jones, I know everybody's screaming for some more
good
Fiascos.
though. It's good, and he's quiet. He's not as fucking loud as he is on our show. I think he now realized that when he's on his thing, he wants to be more restrained and do whatever.
Should we just go on his? Should we just kind of
go on his podcast and just be loud as
can?
hell? Like, I love weird shit. And just to have him be like, oh, sorry, Charlie Bear's in the other room trying to sleep. And like, yeah, now you get it. Now you get it. But it's good. It's fun. Like they literally dig up the craziest, weirdest shit that you don't know what's going on out there. And it's fun. Like, I just started listening to episode 4, and it's all about, like, Middle Earth and some other wacky, weird shit that...
it's definitely not MMA.
It is not MMA at all, but I guess that's what's kind of fun about it. They're definitely not long marathons like these episodes are. But it's fun, and you find out about weird, wacky conspiracy theories and other odd shit that... somebody out there is paying attention to, and it's fun, So give it a look, give it a listen. It's on. You can find it on all your little podcasts on iTunes, or if you use like me, I use Podcast Connect, I think is the app I use. But just look for Odd Normal, ODDNORMAL, just like it sounds.
There you go.
One word.
Shout out to Fiasco Jones, friend of the podcast. All right, listen. Well, obviously no half episode this week since I guess Fight Nights Global is the really only kind of big promotion that's holding events this weekend.
I guess we should just go over there and cover one of their events.
Fly on over to Russia and see some of them.
Yes. I like it.
Oh, man. But, yeah, after that, we're going to get big. Brooklyn's going to be crazy. We're going to have so much content next week. It's going to be nuts. We will do
so much. We're going to have so much stuff for you.
Thank you, random Brooklyn guy that happens to be in our house right now. Hopefully we'll see you next week in your hometown, random Brooklyn guy.
I'll be there with bagels and coffee and stuff. Maybe some pastrami.
All right, random Brooklyn guy. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe you can show us some of the spots in town.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So ridiculous. Yeah, but we're gonna have half episodes. We'll do all that. We'll do all that good stuff. Cool, random Brooklyn guy.
Yeah. Sounds like fucking John Travolta's character in like every movie he's ever been, like Grease. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Sandy, where you at, Sandy? That's from Grease.
Did you say you had chicken for lunch today?
Maybe the chicken was like laced with something. Oh, I did forget. I've been pushing shit out. Not that anybody ever listens to Radio Public, but Audio Boom, the main platform we've been pushing, has different other areas. So we've been pushing out in a couple other ones. So you can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Google Play. They have an option. I haven't figured out how to do it, called Deezer. Just because I know we can say D's nuts, but there is a Deezer we haven't got on there, and it probably won't.
Deezer nuts.
D's nuts podcast.com, but there's one called Radio Public, and I'm trying to find the damn link to put in there, but I know they said that we're approved and we're on there. So Radio Public, if you guys do the Radio Public, most of you are listening, you're probably hearing it from iTunes, but now we're on Radio Public. I try to push us on to iHeart as well, so. Again, just pushing out as many places we can, I know a lot of you guys come to the site, so I appreciate it. I mean, paying for the damn thing, so I'm glad that you guys use it, and we'll keep it around. So
just pushing it everywhere.
Just pushing it everywhere. Yeah. With the pastrami.
That's ridiculous. Thanks for listening.